Welcome to episode number 48. The last minute they were going, what episode is this? This is 48, 47? It was 47 last week. That's why we have it tagged. So this is episode 48, Metaverse Nomads podcast. And we've got some special guests, and these are guests that you've invited to the show, Ray. So go ahead and introduce them, man.
Yes, welcome everyone, boys and girls from around the world, the Metaverse Nomads. Everyone is at the end of the day a nomad, unless you are part of a particular group or you're a builder creating something with a brand of your own. So thank you guys. We've met last year, and we've known each other in the Metaverse, particularly starting in Axie. So it's a pleasure to have you guys here, and thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules. I know you guys just flew back to where you were. Was an NFT NYC. We all met. We had a great time. We'll talk on that. But yeah, I appreciate you all, and thanks for everyone watching right now and supporting us. You know, smash everything you see and click whatever buttons you need to be. And here we are. So let's start with introductions. So I'll shoot it over to Cagy. So who are you? When did you first get involved in the space? What are you a part of? I know we got Juice, the juicer is a thing here, so maybe you can elaborate on that. So the floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like I like the fact that your introduction was like, oh yeah, smash everything. I'm like, bro, sure. They're like,
juice it,
smash the like, smash the comments, just smash it all. You know, I like that. I'm Cagy. I'm a YouTuber. Mostly YouTuber, known as a YouTuber, but I see myself a little bit more as an entrepreneur. YouTube is just one more thing that I do, and one of the most successful things that I have done out of everything that I have tried. So yeah, I also have the Juice team, which is basically a brand new organization, been around like 4 months, and it's a content esports Web3 organization, right? So you basically take Face Clan, TSM, Luminosity, 100 Thieves, and basically put it in Web3. That's who we are, right? We're not like your regular guild, which is, trying to extract value these days. Not you guys necessarily, but a lot of the guilds are kind of just trying to make money instead of creating like an entertainment industry around their company, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's who we are.
Yeah, and we'll get into that too. The extraction methods and that surrounded itself around guilds in particular during the Axie craze of scholarship. That whole thing. We'll definitely get into that. And how to discern, I guess, whether one of these guilds or another, which there's plenty of them in the space, are what you just mentioned, an extractor instead of a person who builds in the space for the long haul. But Brycent, over to you, baby. So the floor is yours. Who's Brycent? When did you first get involved? And what are you a part of? I know you got Loot Squad going on. Shout out to Binary Assets and Brit. We love you. All right.
Yeah, what's going on? It's a pleasure to be here. Got to see my homie Cagy at NYC, so that was super fire. I'm a gamer, Web3 gamer. I also run Loot Squad, which is, for the longest time, people considered us a guild, but we haven't operated as a guild since, I would probably say, January of last year. We've been building like technology. So in a couple of weeks, we're going to roll out a tech called Bolt. I run that as the CEO, and pretty much it's consumer scaling for Web3 based audiences. So being able to put Fiverr and Upwork directly in Discord and have automated payouts on multiple blockchains. So we're doing some cool stuff behind the scenes that's been, I've been super excited for, but I haven't been able to announce. But, I would say as a whole, I tweet entirely too much, but one of the voices of NFT gaming alongside my good friend Cagy. So it's a pleasure to be on the show with you guys.
Yeah, by far, you two are one of the most influentials content creators, right, that are in the space for Web3 gaming. And Web3 gaming, I would say, is the umbrella term we're talking about here, and then play to earn and play to own and all these things are underneath that. So just for anyone new coming into the space, maybe following upon our video, definitely check out Brycent and Cagyjan. They have a plethora of information on how to do things from security, from just entertainment alone, and just more focus on Web3 gaming than anything else.
Don't go to me, I'll scam you. I'll scam you right.
See, but that's what you'll think on the surface. But then when they get to know Cagy, his heart is of gold, and his intentions are not of that as his alter ego on Twitter. So I don't know. That's just my opinion from what I've experienced. But yeah,
and Brycent, can you share a bit more about the project you were just talking about that has to do with on-chain payments? Tell us more about what that's about.
Yeah, so I mean, when I was entering the space and we raised $5 million with Delphi and other partners for Loot Squad, and initially it was supposed to be a guild. But one thing that I kept struggling with internally was I didn't see the guild model as sustainable. It wasn't defensible. I mean, you had everybody and their mother being able to pop up and create a guild and thinking that, this income ecosystem was going to last. And then every one of these companies now being tied to Axie Infinity and whether or not that game was making money. So my thought process was, all right, how do we get to a point where we can actually help assist, like how Cagy was talking about, where you're adding value to these games and these ecosystems. And the only thing I knew how to do was, content. So what happened was I used to have a ton of my scholars that we would pay to actually edit my thumbnails and do different things within the Discord community. And I was paying them out by hand, copy and pasting, addresses. And that got annoying. So we constructed this technology called Bolt that we're turning into a full-fledged application. And pretty much what it does is it allows you to deploy bounties to your entire community directly in Discord. But it pays out through Discord, but directly on chain. So in a sense, you could complete any level of bounty. We see people doing coding bounties, content bounties, pretty much anything you can think of. You can deploy it in Discord and using a simple button directly in Discord, pay people out for, doing the bounties. You can have them vote. And I can go into more detail and send you guys details later. But behind the scenes, we're working closely with a couple of really big payment companies, and hopefully we can announce some stuff later on, but also, working exclusively with Immutable to close out some sort of go-to-market strategy. So ideally, we see it as being kind of the next wave of how community is built in Web3. And it takes a lot of my time, so I don't get to do as much of the content side as I used to, but I'm still putting out content pretty regularly. I'm not as consistent as Cagy though. Cagy's killing it. And
hey,
killing
man,
it might be an understatement.
I feel you, bro. It's a lot of work behind the scenes. Thankfully I have somebody that helps me a lot. But that sounds sick, by the way.
I gotta show it to
explore. I would like to explore, see how we can in the future collaborate with that. For sure.
Yeah, it definitely does, because I think the thing that's really going to set this whole industry on fire is anything that helps with the onboarding and helps to transition to where it's a normal part of their behavior and they're not afraid of wallets and they're doing more just even micro transactions with each other. So projects like that sound amazing because it definitely is a value add to the industry. It's pretty cool.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's these types of innovations and building that's really going to help with adoption. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. A lot of people, like we just finished talking about, came in for profits, and you might have had your time, and there might be some more times in the future as far as market ebbs and flows. But as far as the gaming NFT sector of whatever we're talking about here, which is Web3 gaming, essentially is not going to be predicated on just that, which is playing for profit, but more so, and we can talk on this too, Brycent and Cagy. I know you had talks. We can get into our experiences, and I've heard some of the presentations you gave, and then also talked in person with you guys. But I guess we could jump with Cagy first. What panels were you part of, and what was your overall experience, and any notable maybe relationships you've encountered or made at New York City this past week?
Yeah, man. I did a panel. I think it was how to integrate NFTs into games. Very natural for me. I think what we touched on was more of why are people, not paying attention to this. And I think what my response was something around, we're looking at this from a money perspective, or not us, but the people that look at it from the outside, it's like they just look at it from a money perspective and they get annoyed by that, right? Because it's all about bragging and I have this PFP and and you're shit because you don't have it and whatever.
Right.
And of course, gamers are gonna get mad, but in reality, gamers do understand ownership. They've been understanding it for the longest time. You go to eBay right now, there's people selling Fortnite accounts. This is not new. You go to third-party websites, you see WoW accounts being sold, gold being sold. This is like just a natural progression in gaming. Basically, now you can actually verify your ownership of items, accounts, tokens, whatever it is, and people just have to understand it from that perspective. And I think after people understand it from that perspective, the industry starts taking off naturally. So
yeah, without a doubt. And just shout out a tweet you made that really stuck with me. I know you tweet like 1,000 miles an hour. You too, Brycent. Got to give yourself some credit, man. You're right up there with the.
I've been copying some people, so tell me what tweet it is.
Yes,
okay,
I love that.
The main one was basically your NFT will go to zero as soon as you buy the skin, because essentially a skin on a private server of a traditional game developer is just that, an NFT. You just don't know it as that as a traditional gamer. So it goes to zero as soon as you buy it. And then, and this is common sense to us, maybe about watching a lot of the viewership here is, I guess, savvy enough in the space of Web3 and NFT gaming, crypto overall. But again, for everyone who's new to this, if you told someone to watch Metaverse Nomads and they have no idea because you've drowned, you talk their ear up so much so that they don't even listen to you anymore, right? You're going to refer them to a network like Metaverse Nomads. But yeah, overall, talk on that point and we'll get to you, Brycent, because I have a tweet that set out on that I'm going to bring up with you. So when you buy NFTs, they go to zero.
Yeah, I actually copied that from On-Chain Gaming, like literally just copy pasted. I mean, the idea is not a crazy idea, right? Like,
right.
I've definitely said that before in different forms, but I've been trolling lately, like just copy pasta, and On-Chain Gaming got mad at me. But I'm just trolling, to be honest, and it's whatever, like some people don't like it, but yeah, I think his point is very, very valid, right?
Sure.
As soon as you buy anything in any game, it goes to zero. And once you buy it in the NFT world or a Web3 world, you have the possibility of selling that item. And this is a good image right here, the CSGO. A lot of people give me that argument like, oh, CSGO, you can sell.
Crazy.
But it's kind of BS that you can sell. In reality, you sell it, but you sell it on Steam. And then you have to get that money out, you have to do like things that are against TOS. So
super janky.
So it's in reality, and then your account can get banned and then you lose all your skins. So, a lot of these games in Web3, even if your account gets banned, your wallet doesn't get banned. So at least you have a black market where you can sell your skins and not play the game, right? So that's why it's important for games to have in-game status or XP so that people are less inclined to cheat in the game because they have a lot to lose. Right. They might not lose a skin, they might not lose items, but they might lose a lot of value within their account. So I think developers should have the ability still to ban accounts, so that people are not inclined to cheat or stuff like that. So they have something to lose, right? So
absolutely. So we'll jump it over to you, Brycent. Your experience NFT NYC. You can, if you made any notes, you can talk on just the same exact topic, and any notable relationships or contacts and experiences of panels you were part of.
Yeah, I think NFT NYC was a good experience. I think that these events put a lot into perspective in regards to the people that you meet, how they carry themselves. Like I try to pay attention to the things that go beyond, just all right, like it's an event, they put it on. They didn't. For the most part, I don't think NFT gamers get any respect. I highlighted it last week in terms of the NFT Now Top 100. I thought it was BS that there wasn't, NFT gamers on that list, considering gaming carried the entire NFT market last summer, but nobody talks about that. Beyond that, I spoke very much like Cagy. I had a speech where I just talked. I didn't know what I was going to say, but I was talking about the pitfalls of like Web3 gaming. And to be honest, I just got up there and was quite frank and saying that most of these games are BS. I mean, if you're a gamer, I wouldn't want to touch most of the stuff that's out there. Luckily, you have like people like this platform, Metaverse Nomads, you have Cagy, you have myself, you have people that are going to be out there and be straightforward with you and tell you what's good, what's bad. But I mean, what I've learned from NFT NYC as a whole was, one, I truly don't give a damn about what other people like in the space's opinions are, especially people who have launched projects with tokens and then try to tell you that how you should feel or react, or you should review this game, or you're shilling that. It's all just BS, because at the end of the day, all of these people are working towards their bottom line and are not thinking about how we make this space sustainable for the next 10, 20, 30 years. So we're not the laughing stock of NFTs. And the only headlines that people care about are the ones that show bad things happening, like the 600 mil Axie hack. That gets more positive press than the fact that Mythical Games threw one of the best NFT events ever in the history of events and had chain smokers, and everyone was vibing out. But the crazy thing was, most of the people at the event didn't even know what the hell they were there for. Most of them weren't even NFT gamers. I mean, me and Cagyjan went over there and grabbed like 30 stacks of the free NFT drop, because most of the people there didn't even realize this world exists. So not only are we early, but like it's crazy to think of, there are companies that are doing great things that every day go unnoticed. I mean, even to Cagyjan's point, one of his favorite chains right now is Wax. Dude, they've been just consistently performing and churning out amazing things, amazing games. Shout out to Forge Arena. And no one talks about it. All you hear is the bad stuff. So me and Cagyjan have, and other gamers, you have Jake, you have Crypto Stash, you have Johnny Hustlepedia. We all have like this big duty to like go to these events and, you know, show face. But bigger than that, just continuing to push the space forward. But I left NFT NYC thinking I could have done without most of the events there. But next year, I think it'll be almost gaming focused, because every NFT project right now is trying to create a game. Bored Ape Yacht Club didn't create a gaming metaverse because they just thought this is what the space fucking needed. No, they created this because they printed one NFT and then airdropped and printed another one, and then another one, and then another one. And people realize that that's not actual value, and they need to try to not only buy more time, but create something that could be potentially sustainable. Bro, you think they're just going to come out tomorrow and launch a good game and we've been like building this space like for months? No, It's going to take time, energy, effort, cultivation. But it's funny that all these traditional NFT projects now are moving the way of the game's sake. But I think as a whole, creators are going to be what push the space forward, not these stupid ass gaming studios. And I think that people need to understand that and stop putting so much faith in them.
So what do you think is going to be the impact of that? So you have a game world, you know, by Bored Ape that comes out, and let's say that it isn't very playable and they just kind of put all this effort into it. What happens next with the value of what they're creating as a whole?
I mean, the value of the NFT should go down tremendously if the game doesn't hit. I think there's probably a 25% chance that the game is good, 75% chance that it's not, considering they're not building a game or a metaverse for gamers. It's right now that most of these games are building for Web3 gamers, but not realizing you need Web2 gamers for sustainability if you want a long-term and sustainable ecosystem of games played. So I think a lot of the games need to like change their mindset on how they're marketing and creating these ecosystems. And then bring in creators like Cagyjan and myself to tell you when you're messing up. Like, we're not here to like break our backs and like dump our assets onto our followings. Our goal is to help our followings make better decisions. And I think that that's been lacking because you have a bunch of people who don't know how to make games. And it's beyond just making them fun. They don't know how to execute marketing strategies to bring in new gamers. They don't know how to collaborate with content creators in a way that is more than just asking us to do a game review. Bro, Cagyjan could, or myself could do, we could charge $3,000 to $5,000 per game review on YouTube or Twitter and cash out the entire bear cycle and not have to think twice about how well we eat at night. But it's bigger than that for us in terms of we want games that people actually want to be a part of. And I think that that's lacking right now from an investment standpoint and from a game development standpoint.
Yeah, we get requests on the daily, like at least 10 requests daily. I could just be doing YouTube videos just to do YouTube videos and, cash it out and whatever. But right now, like Brycent said, we're focusing on long-term collaboration and how can we, support these games, and then in return they could support us. And that's one of the things, for example, with Axie, they missed that point there, that, we, the content creators, we hyped Axie, but then in reality there was nothing in return, so they had nothing in mind for a long-term sustainable relationship between creators and the game. So they kind of missed that point there. But I'm not throwing shades at Axie. It's something to learn from, right? And
Right,
for
they're,
games
they're
out
the
there.
case model as they trailblazed the 2 token model, which everyone followed, the scholarships. So you could pull a lot from just Axie and its whole journey since 2018. The bear market, and then coming into the hype cycle, and then here we are now. So yeah, by no means is this show about shade at all. It's just a huge growing experience, and just again, the tweet that resonated with me was, or I think it was the video actually, and then you tweeted it. There was a gentleman at NFT MRC, and he was asking, how do we onboard, more people who are kind of on the sidelines and kind of wary about coming in with their own funds, right? So essentially, you said we're in the 2.1 to through 2.9 Web 3. I guess for the metaverse concern with NFT gaming. So we're not even essentially out of the tunnel into the beginnings of Web 3. So yeah, if you wanted to mention any points on that.
Yeah, I mean, because think about it. From the standpoint of gamers, you have people like myself and Cagy who are well-versed in handling wallet transactions, and maybe I suck at storing my seed phrases. To be honest, I still have them screenshotted on my phone, so never hack my account. But ultimately, what I'm saying is, like, most people in Web 2 shouldn't have to store their own seed phrases. Imagine if you had to manage your entire bank account. That's why the bank is there. That doesn't mean that the bank is good, and that doesn't mean that you're doing bad things. But ultimately, my thoughts are, there are a lot of easy wins that we could do to fix things and mitigate things. My mother's never going to give a damn that she has to use ETH because it's decentralized to pay a phone bill over the fact that it just needs to be paid very quickly. So the way we reach more gamers, I think, is just by finding the things that they are currently struggling with in Web 2, focusing on fixing the little things first. You can have a Web3 game where people have to go through 7 or 8 steps to actually, purchase NFTs because you got to bridge different assets. But it doesn't do any good when the attention span of the average human, including myself, is that of a fucking log. And ultimately, we're going to be in a space where I don't want to go through 20 steps to get something done. I want to be able to just do it right then and there in that moment. And a lot of people are struggling with that.
Absolutely. And yeah, a lot of the talk we have here on the Metaverse Nomads for a while now, it's been close to, we, as you see, 48th episode today, and we've been doing it for over a year, but we were formerly known as Mirandus, the Mirandus Gentry. And then we rebranded into, Rome as we see it here. And, Gala Games, we're pretty well versed on the whole ecosystem as a whole. And we talk on, just as frankly as we're talking here, on a lot of things that the developers do on their end as far as helping with getting traditional gamers into the space, and then also what they're doing within the Web3 decentralized NFT gaming space, right? So not any one of these, I was going to say institutions, but companies or gaming guilds or whatnot are doing it perfectly. It's just that, some people you can discern, and it's clear as day that they're doing things maliciously and just for their own profit. And then on the other hand, it would take some time to get out of that cornfield to see the light at the end, at the end of the tunnel. All these, all these other people who are here for the long haul, like a Cagyjan and a Brycent and ourselves here. So more props to you guys. And behind the scenes of a content creator is just, it's otherworldly. So, for anyone who's consuming all the content on a daily, maybe try it yourself. We always want more content creators in the space to help, promote the space. So
yeah. Now, I want to just kind of, if you don't mind, just even throwing it back to Cagy really quick. Cagy, you know better than anybody, especially being in content, when you're doing content and being a content creator where we have, so much supreme influence around people playing games and doing things of that sort. But we make these videos. One thing that we don't have influence or say over is how these games navigate and move. But at the end of the day, when something drops and it's bad, the first thing that you see, Cagy, is people coming at us and yelling at us as if we have stake in the game, or as if we're like actually, running the game ecosystem. Like, how do you navigate those waters? Because that could be a topic all in its own. That's just crazy.
Yeah, man. That's one of the most unfortunate things about being a content creator, right? We talk about this game. Sometimes we talk about them passionately. Sometimes not as passionate. But the point is that it falls back on us. If it really does fall back on us, and going back to Axie Infinity, because it was a big, right? Everything that happened with the $600 million hack or whatever. As soon as I said that I sold my run, And I sold it for different reasons. I sold it for the juice team, so I could have liquidity to actually have runway for the juice team in the next couple of years, because I'm not seeking investment necessarily from VCs, because they want to shift you into a different direction. And I was just like, let me build a foundation with my money. People got mad that I did that. Like, why didn't you say? You should have said it. Like, it's like, nah, bro. Like, I don't have to tell you anything. That's my money. And I understand them, because their point of view is like, no, but you pump the run and then you sell it and you don't say anything. And it's like, bro, like, it's not my fault that they got hacked, right? And it's not my fault that I got out on time. It's not like I knew. Like, they wanted to frame it like I knew it was gonna happen, the hack, and then I pulled out, and now everybody's fucked but me, right? It wasn't like that, So yeah, it always falls back on us, and that's why we're trying to build, long-term relationships with games. And if a game wants a long-term relationship, most likely they want to do something interesting in the space. If it's a game that is like, nah, we don't want to, we don't want to integrate your brand in our game, or vice versa, like, you can tell right away. It's like, okay, you guys are just here to, extract quick value and out. Like, nah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Right.
One of the things about blockchain as a whole is that it demands personal responsibility, and there's a lot of folks that are still hesitant to take that on. It's like, when you watch a content creator, it's still ultimately up to you to make decisions for yourself and take personal responsibility for those decisions.
Yeah,
facts.
Absolutely. That's one of the biggest problems when especially in a bull market. In a bull market, it's the worst, because people come here based on money. Like, everything's pumping. This is the best moment right here. Everybody that is here right now is probably well versed to a certain extent, right? And if they're new, they're not thinking about the money. They're like kind of exploring. I've seen a few new people like, oh, I'm brand new. Like, thank you for the content or whatever. Like, these people are understanding without money being involved, and that's good. So this is a time to build. This is a time to foster that type of community and reach out to every single person on Twitter, on YouTube, comment back, talk to them. In the bull market, I hate doing it, because I don't know who's who. I don't know if you're here for like 1 minute or you're going to be here for the long term. Right now, I know for a fact that most people here are here for the long term. So I love the bear market in that sense.
Yep. And on that note, NFT NYC was more than just events, like Brycent said earlier, but it was more of like a festival of sorts amongst the different NFT projects, and there was a lot going on. The lines for like doodles, I think, was like one of the longest in history of any lines that ever existed. And we had Dr. Disrespect's line that was pretty lengthy. I was on that one personally. And I guess for what it's worth, we are still in a bear market. And I would like to share some inspiration from Dr. Disrespect himself. So, take away from it what you will. But here we go. I want to share this with you.
Words of inspiration. I mean, I'm just thinking when I was young, I went down a water slide, and I was going real fast. Fast, I leaned up from head to tippy toe. At the end, there's 20, 30 kids. It's a tough day for those kids. Yeah.
So there you have it, kids. Make sure you're Vaselined up. So
Classic.
So you can pop right out of that bear market tunnel and into the bull run. So yeah, it was a pleasure meeting him. I had a great time there, and just some notable relationships or people I came across. We have to give it up for Cagyjan and my wife next to me, starting from the left hand side to the right, and then Miss Teen Crypto. She's wonderful. She's been in the space and she, essentially a teenager helping people and the youth basically learn how to get on board and operate in this Web3 space. So shout out to all the youngins that are out here doing the thing. And, not the most professional photo, but Brycent was trying to steal me from my wife and she just laughed. But yeah, it was a great event at 137 and some awesome people there. Everyone, and then this is what I mentioned to a lot of people I talked with there. In these times of the bear market, like Cagyjan and Brycent were just mentioning, when it comes to anyone reaching out, in a bull market, you don't know who's who and whether to discern if they're here for money or not. But in the bear market, you have quality people coming out who are interested in building in the space. And there was a young gentleman from India who just recently partnered with Polygon, and he showed me a Real Engine 5 demo. And yeah, you'll see hundreds of these, if you just go out there and you go into the trenches. So nothing like special per se, but you can tell that these people are really interested in caring about the space as a whole, and not just about their wallets and their, quote unquote investors. I'm not sure if this one person had investors, but I was blown away about how genuine he was and how he wanted to just soak up and help people learn more outside of what he was building between him and his brother. And they already, and to talk about, I saw a comment earlier. Yeah, I think it was Punjab. Yeah, his game was in development for 3 years up until he finally partnered with Polygon. So you can imagine how long games are being developed. The amount of work and resources that go into developing any of these games that are going to be like a plug and play into Web3 that we know of as far as traditional games go in their genres. So and then I did one of these with Brycent, and this is I didn't intentionally do this with both of you. It just happened to be so that I picked him up. He jumped into my arms, and at 137 I picked Brycent up and I walked him outside. But it was a great time, and what else we have here? Yo, shout out to Manu, right? Manu and Cagyjan. Yo, they're doing an awesome job as content creators as well. Venezuela and Argentina, they're killing it. Make sure they made the switch, and it was a risk for themselves. They talked about it often at the time. No one really cared, and they thought they were crazy. All their followers took a hit too. Right? People started thinking they were scamming people at first. All these different projects and games being talked about. So it's almost like this is what your experience will be as a content creator if you're going to get in now and go as hard as these guys, right? Whether you're from South America, North America, wherever you are, expect this backlash as you being a scammer, pumping coins. Right, it's a hard road, especially if you don't have no one by your side. So it's great that we all stick together and support each other in ways that we know we have to. And then another content creator who made the transition. So he was also at Dr. Disrespect, and maybe look forward to through his assistant. We have him on the show as well. And shout out to Stash, right, Crypto Stash. He has a great YouTube channel. Everyone's here for the cause. And then Mystic 7. I bumped into him with Ready Player DAO, another great combination there. But Mystic 7, another big YouTuber who's also getting into content creation with Web3 games. So there's a whole bunch of names and people out there who are just genuine individuals to look after. And
for sure,
I can't speak highly enough about everybody.
Sick.
Yes, sir. So yeah. I guess we can move on to general news. I know we covered one of those articles about the CSGO skins, which is,
Yeah, we covered it briefly. I can go back to it. It was a story about $2 million in skins being stolen from a Steam account. It's one of the most expensive accounts on Steam. And all of it, like this sort of stuff can happen in normal games as well. So it's quite interesting.
Right.
The question is, what did they do about it? Because that's important, right? Like in Web3, it's kind of hard to backtrack from that, but would be interesting to understand what happened there,
Right.
For sure, yeah. And like Steam isn't built to hold on to like more than $2 million worth of assets. They don't have any like insurance or protection, so it's almost like an unregulated market.
It's almost as if they should have had those assets on the blockchain and allow people to protect them themselves.
I think you're onto something there, Brycent. I think you're onto something there.
Oh man, can you send me that article so I can tweet about it? That's actually pretty insane. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, a lot happened actually in the week. But go ahead. I think you were going to say something.
No, see, guys, this is why you need to make sure you are following and checking out the Metaverse Nomads. Even myself, I am getting up-to-date information from them, and if you're missing out on it, I really know what to tell you. You're not going to make it through this bear market.
Thank you, man. We've heard that a lot, so it's our pleasure to be here every week for 3+ hours sometimes. And it's not to say that you guys have to stay the whole time we're alive. If by all means you have to go anywhere, just let us know and you can hop off. But yeah, we do this. We do general news, and I guess I should introduce ourselves as a guild in the beginning, right after you guys. But we are a guild of gamers, right? We are not here. We have no scholars, but we do want to help people learn the ways of earning through playing with their own NFT assets, right? So a lot of times people are going to be hesitant to jump in with their own funds. So yes, we would provide some assets, as a rental for people to test out any of these particular games if they're not free to play. But a lot of these games are going to be cost within the amount of money that you would, I guess, expect to lose if it was an investment. So for Star Atlas, for example, you could buy a ship as low as $15, right? So if you're buying games on Steam with the summer sale, from 70% off, you're paying $15 for some of these games that were pretty high that you might have not have purchased before. So you'll have a good chance to experience a lot of these NFT games at a low cost or even no cost at all. There are a couple of games in beta that you can earn that are Web3 games, right? And we can, Big Time is one of them. I know you guys could maybe talk on them. I haven't played as much as you guys have any of these games. I'm busy myself. But do you guys want to talk on any of the particular games you've been playing right now? Is it Big Time? Is it Play Blancos? Where you can earn. We could shoot it to Cagy first, and then we'll hop over to Brycent.
Yeah, man. Definitely Big Time has a great model that play to earn NFTs. In reality, they're not NFTs yet. You can't mint them. I don't really like that. But the idea that you play and then you get drops, NFT drops, is way better than just extracting value, because you need somebody to buy it on the other side, right? Like there's no liquidity behind this NFT unless somebody says, I want that NFT or that skin or whatever. So I think it's a great model. And it's a model that I saw back in 2020 with Lost Relics. I said it very early, free to play to earn, right? So I think that is the model, free to play to earn NFTs, right? I think that is one of the best models. In terms of Blancos, I played it before, but I think Brycent has been playing it lately, so I think he can talk more on Blancos and stuff like that. Also, Forge Arena on Wax. Very good game. I'll be playing it tonight. So, yeah, I'll give it to Brycent here.
No, I think, to be honest, Cagy definitely knows more in the space, in my opinion, in terms of games coming out. I feel like I'm always a little bit late to the party. Half the games I make a video on, he's like already dropped something on it, and then I'll come in and I'll make videos. But yeah, Blancos has probably been my most like bullish play. They did recently, Cagy, add that whole feature where you can like now take them off, like you can take them out of their database and put them on the blockchain and move them back and forth. So when you do it, I think it sends them to ETH on mainnet, if I'm not mistaken. And that's how I normally, if I'm giving them away, you have to like bridge them off and shit. So, I mean, they do have they have it. It's something they don't really discuss that much. But I think ultimately, all these games are just going to be at a point where if you can buy with your credit card or buy with Ethereum or things like that, I think that's when we're going to start seeing a lot of like barriers really like broken down. And I think also, like to Cagy's point, pay attention to what's happening on the Wax network. A lot of games coming in that way. And I need to jump into Forge Arena too. So I need you to like, maybe we need to hop on. I need to hop on the stream.
Let's do it, man.
And start juicing. I'm going to start juicing.
Let's do a tournament. I mean, we could do a tournament, Loot Squad versus the Juice team. We put a little team together, or any other, even Rome as well. If you guys want to jump in.
I was about to say.
I did talk to somebody talking about Blancos and talking about making relationships. One of the people that I talked to in the Blancos party, and that's what I went for. I didn't go to party. I went to collaborate, to talk to people. One thing is Twitter, where I'm like fucking around, I have a beer in my hand, whatever. But in reality, I was just talking to people. That's the only thing I did. I wasn't focused on, what was the best party. I didn't give a damn. Who wants to collaborate? That was my goal, and that's what I went for. So in the Blancos party, I actually met this dude that is actually doing esports, an esports organization just to create tournaments and stuff like that. There's a few out there, but this one he offered me, look, we have $500 every single month to give you to make a tournament for you. And then of course we can talk to either Wax, we can talk to ourselves as guilds, put $100 more, $200 more into the pool, and then we can make a tournament for $1,000 every single month together on games that we could play. And then little by little kind of grow the industry like that. It's better content, it's more fun, playing with the community and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm down, definitely down.
I would be 100% down as well.
Mm-hmm.
You have our support. We'll definitely chime in on that. But yeah, I guess the question of the day is, are we looters or juicers if we're in both Loot Squad's Discord and the Juice Team's Discord? How do we differentiate? Like, what do we do?
Whatever you guys want. It's kind of like the same, I think right now it's like in traditional, esports and content creation teams, it's like, you might like FaZe and 100 Thieves and you're a fan of both, right? They both offer like a different mentality or vibe or whatever. And, or Rome, you're in it for different reasons, for different vibes, and it's all good. Right. I think you can be fans of many at the same time.
Cagy, you mentioned Lost Relics. So that for me, that was the first NFT game that I was introduced to, I guess, in 2020. Mm-hmm. Single developer. It's got some interesting mechanics. However, it ended up losing my interest because it's incredibly grindy for the amount of any NFTs you will actually see drop when you're playing. So after a while, I just kind of hit threshold, and I don't know if there's been anything new that's been developed with it since. Of the games that you've played, for both of you, which are the games that have that fun element that makes it so that you would play it even if it didn't have NFTs or there weren't any blockchain mechanics? That's the first question. And then the second question is what do you think it will take to bring those two together? What's going to make a game exceptionally playable in the blockchain space?
All right. Yeah. There's a few questions here. Like, okay, Lost Relics, one developer. I'll go quick on that. I think he failed to scale. He has like this idea that he wants to control everything. He doesn't know how to, delegate, which is very important for you to scale any business. You have to delegate. You have to trust first, and then if there's no trust, then you kind of like take that person out. But I think trust first, and then figure it out later. So he kind of failed to scale there, and I think the drops is kind of a representation of failing to scale, right? Not being able to see how many people are playing, how long they're grinding, and do a ratio of drops versus amount of people and amount of time they're putting into the game. I don't think it was it was a problem with the scaling, right? If he had a bigger team, then people would analyze those factors and kind of like adjust. So to your point, you grab play Big Time, and Big Time does have that team, so they understand how many people are playing, how long they're grinding, and maybe they have a better ratio of like, okay, this amount of NFTs should drop so that people don't feel like it's too grindy, right? So I think it's a problem with scaling in terms of Lost Relics, and then you see it in Big Time. It's actually pretty fun. I think Big Time, after a little bit, it could get grindy as well because we're still in alpha, but as soon as they open the world, they put more content. I think it's going to be a funner experience.
Nice. Fancy. We can hop over, unless Brycent, you had something to say, but we're going to continue on with the news.
I think Cagy's spot on.
All right, sweet.
Yeah, cool. We have talked a bit about like ease of use of getting onto the blockchain, and perhaps this is a story that could help with that. Solana's launching their own mobile phone, and I'm not sure about you guys, but I haven't looked at a phone in a long time like it's upgrade or there's anything new apart from like a bigger screen or like a different button position. So yeah, this is interesting to me. Go ahead, Jesse.
It is interesting, but also it's like if you'd have told me that this was going to happen, I would have been like, well, why? I mean, I understand that technology and because of Web3 and security and managing of assets and making it so that projects have a device that is built for that, but it also just seems like a big stretch to jump into the hardware business.
I mean, you could probably see that stretch. Well, if you think about it from a Steam perspective, right? They have their own device, right? You got Nintendo. They got their own device. So my thought process on this is like maybe they just want their own device to have their own games, their own apps, and stuff like that. And so I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think it's actually pretty smart.
Yeah, but if they don't have enough adoption, then it's going to be. I would think that their cost to produce it would be incredibly high.
Yeah, it's quite a pricey phone, $1,000 and $100 deposit. I think the idea is you have like your hard wallet everywhere you go, which does sound a bit risky to me. And I'm not really sure about these buttons on the side here. Like if you have a phone that is designed for crypto and it's like obviously that brand could be like a security threat IRL, like if someone notices it.
I think like also they have to be able to get market share from the iPhone and these other places.
Right.
Seems like an uphill battle.
Yep.
It does, but Sam is, he doesn't.
Oh, he's tapped in.
Yeah, he doesn't care. This guy is just going for everything. He's trying to capture the whole market.
It is quite interesting because of all the Star Atlas mobile experience stuff they've been showing recently. So if there's going to be a Solana phone and Star Atlas is like playable and usable on the phone, that could be quite convenient, not being tied to your desktop wherever you need to go.
Yeah, I'm just curious, like, what experience are they going to offer that I can't already get on my existing phone? Are they going to remove one step? Are they going to, I mean, what is the value add there? That's the thing, I guess, that remains to be seen.
Yeah, it does. It was a phone by another company, OSOM, and it's basically a rebrand. Solana, like, I think bought it, or it's a cooperation, but yeah, it's being fitted, so it's like Web3 compatible. Like a lot of Web3 at the moment is based around the web, and so I guess a phone design specifically for it could have some uses. It all depends on if it is worth that upgrade past like what we have now, and there is a very big market right now.
I think any phone, like more phones in the market is better, man. Like, you know, you don't want this, you know, one company rules all, like Apple and Samsung. You want more. I think Tesla is doing that too, right? Like, whatever, you know, the more there is in the market, the better. More competition, more options for the consumer, and I think it's great at the end of the day. Whether it fails or not, I don't care. Like, the more we got out there, the better, you know. So
I agree with that. I think we need more participants or more market participants that are willing to take on, you know, the giant companies. A lot of times it is a thing where people are like, oh my goodness, like I don't think I stand a chance. So a lot of people tend not to make that jump. But I do think that as we see more participants come in, you'll find more opportunities to like figure out where everyone can play fair or play in the same boat. I mean, of course, you're not going to grab market share overnight, but it's the longevity of over time. You have new generations of people coming in. People have different mindsets. I mean, if you would have told people that, you know, 10 years ago, TikTok would be the biggest social media platform for video, you probably, I mean, outside of YouTube, of course, you probably would be like, wow, like, nah, it's not happening. But I mean, you know, younger generations come about, there's new technologies and people like different things. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I mean, having more choice and more competition is always better for the consumer. It pushes each of the companies producing products to try and do it better. So.
Especially in Web3, man. Like, Apple wasn't, you know, too keen on Web3 last year. I don't even know how STEPN actually made it. Actually, I saw STEPN and other apps very early. You know, I saw the pitch decks and stuff like that. I was like, wait, this is interesting. But there's a problem here that Apple and all this, you know, phones are not allowing this to happen. So that's why I didn't even jump into that. And out of nowhere, you know, they're being allowed. The point is that, you know, there's not a framework yet with these phone companies. You know, sometimes they allow it, sometimes they don't. You got Steam as well that kind of banned it. And then we still have some Web3 games that they haven't banned on Steam. So it's kind of weird. So yeah, the more product, the better. You know, that way you can be like, okay, if Apple's not going to accept it, then, you know, I'll go to Solana phone or whatever, right? So yeah, the more phones, the better. Fuck it.
Speaking of Apple, I saw something recently. I think it was even a direct email from crypto.com, how now they're integrating Apple Pay for crypto purchases, which I think is interesting. I'm surprised that they were able to strike that deal with Apple.
They have no choice, man. It is what it is. It really comes down to that. We push the space too hard, man. They literally have no choice. I really thought this was going to take at least 4 more years, man. This spike so quick, I just didn't see it coming. It's crazy.
Yeah, that actually leads us on to the next story quite well. This was a burger place in Long Beach that was like built around crypto, and basically it stopped accepting crypto now.
Really?
The bull run.
Oh man, that's crazy.
What else did you expect to happen?
But that's weird because you could have like services that do the back end work.
Yeah, to just change the price based on like to change the amount of crypto you need based on the price going up and down.
Yeah, Solana has that. Like Solana has the credit card for Solana. You can actually pay in Solana or any coin, and and it's in the back end. Everything's in the back end. So the actual
live price, that'd be pretty funny. What'd you pay for your burger?
Yeah. Damn, I put at the high of $100. Yeah, I got it.
Oh my god,
that would be terrible. Was actually $9.25.
That's crazy, man.
An 8 themed cup of soda, $3.50. Lovely.
They fucking rug. Wow.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious. That's pretty hilarious. I'm not gonna lie.
But but we see companies who were Web3 oriented and building from, I guess, the highs of the market and branching out in different industries, now kind of receding and realizing like, okay, we still need some building to do. And then we have traditional games. I guess the next one with GTA coming into play, announcing with GTA 6, there's going to be a Bitcoin-esque type of token that's going to be related to, crypto. It's going to be a Bitcoin-like cryptocurrency system. That's going to be.
It's a weird way to say it.
Yeah, I mean,
way of saying these types of things, but
GTA always had it. They always had the stock market inside the game. You could invest. I think there's actually crypto in GTA 5, but like fake crypto, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think there's some of that too. It's a natural progression, man. They have to. They have no choice. They have to come in with NFTs and crypto into GTA. It makes so much sense on GTA. It's actually crazy. That is the actual metaverse.
Right.
Like every other game here is trying to build what GTA built like years ago. If there's anybody that can make it happen, it's them for sure.
That raises a good question, because it's like there are a lot of games out there that have had like a big open world environment for some time. How do you bring blockchain into that? I mean, because there's two sides to it. There's the cosmetics, there's the skins, there's the NFTs that don't have any utility other than cosmetic. And then you have the potential for a virtual economy, kind of like what Star Atlas is trying to build, where you actually have player run economics. People are crafting, people are creating items, people are going to be creating ships. On the show where you were on with Wagner, you guys were talking about, wouldn't it be cool if someone was just a taxi guy that brought people to parties across the metaverse? So there's so many different ways you could do that. My thought is now with games like GTA and some of the others, the question is are they going to be able to think through economics well enough to where that part works and doesn't ruin the game?
Yeah, I think it's possible. Go ahead, Bryce.
No, you jump in.
Yeah, I think it's possible. If you do two modes, right? You could do two modes. You do a free mode. People that want to play for free, they want to buy stuff with their credit card that is not NFTs, and they just don't want to deal with that. Then you let them go into the servers, and then you have the pro server where it's like, bro, this is real life economy right here. Like there's no crying here. You go in here, and you own your weapons. Somebody might have a better weapon than you because they paid more money than you. It's a real life economy. It's a decision that you make to participate in a real life economy. And we've seen it in games like Entropia. Entropia has sold like millions, like planets sold for millions of dollars in Entropia. And Entropia is purely a dollar economy. Everything you buy there, you buy and sell in dollars, straight up in dollars. Obviously, it's not on the blockchain. It's an old game. But people decided, there's like at least 20, 30,000 people playing Entropia, or there used to be. It's a small economy, but people decided that they want to participate in that economy. It was a decision. Nobody complains in Entropia. Like if you're in Entropia, it's because you want to participate in an economy like that. And I think if they separate those two worlds where people can make a decision, I think it could be successful, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd 100% agree with that. Just give people a choice. And if people have choice, then no one has an issue. Because then people can start off in that free mode and be like, oh, I've been grinding the game. I'm ready to take that next step. I want to increase my gaming experience. Because I think that ultimately that's the beauty in blockchain. It shouldn't hinder the gaming experience for a free-to-play player, but it should increase the gaming experience from a thrill standpoint, a heightened even level of anxiety. I mean, in a good way. Like there's good and bad stress involved in video games, regardless of if people want to look at it or not. But I mean, I enjoy tournament style matches and games because it's like there's more stress, the moment's higher. And I think like if there's, economics in games, like you provide a different level of gaming experience, which is also very good.
Yeah, I relate it to gambling. When you're gambling and you're risking something as collateral, or if you lose, then there's that heightened awareness and those skills that you might have never known you had for a first-person shooter come into play, and scoping, left and right. But yeah, that's the beauty of this NFT Web3 phase we're in, where it's just like we're playing games for the love of gaming. All right, but although it's profitable, that shouldn't be the main focus. But it's going to be that more enjoyable when you're having something at stake that you can potentially earn or potentially lose. So it's just the best of both worlds, in my opinion, are coming together, and it's just going to take some time for it's every quote unquote nerd's dream or gamer's dream to now be able to do this openly and legally on some level.
Yeah, and I think it's important to understand that not everybody wins in this economy. This is literally a real life economy. There's people that make bad trades in real life, right? They buy things more expensive than what they should, right? Like if you're in GTA and you're playing like the real life economy in GTA, and then you buy, I don't know, a weapon, or you fix your car for a higher price, it's up to you. It's up to you. Why didn't you go and find out who's fixing your car for less, right? It's exactly the same thing. So there's going to be a lot of losers for somebody to win in a game like GTA with a real economy. There's going to be losers and winners. It's literally a real life economy. You decide if you want to participate in that and risk losing money. But some people are going to do it for fun, to be honest. There's oilers out there, kids. There's literally kids that have parents that run oil companies. They have millions of dollars to throw at these games. So, there's people that are going to do it for fun as well. And they're just going to give money out, basically. That's going to happen.
100% agree with that.
Yeah. So, I think another game worth noting in these as far as which ones are playable, which I personally like, and I did mention it to you guys, Nifty Island, and it's by no means, something that I'm mentioning just because it's a game that I like personally, and there's no token associated with the project. So, don't throw me in the bucket of, pump and dumps over here, but it's actually, you're going to be able to play the game. And currently you're able to play, talk on the mic with friends, build together like Minecraft. There's colored blocks. There's all these challenges and tournaments that go on. And to my surprise, I think Brycent, you weren't that well aware of it, or Cagy. And it's something as a content creator for Web3 gaming is one of those that should be on the list, because it's a pretty awesome game that's going to be opened up. It's in beta. And, I had the CEO, Charles, one of the co-founders, as a guest, and we got some potential. We had whitelist spots given out to our community, so some jumped in and started building, and it's always being patched and updated. And you're able to view your NFTs, post them up. People can go to your OpenSea and buy it off of there. And potentially, the way I guess the play to earn mechanics will work in the future is the more traction you bring onto your island, is how you get rewarded. So there isn't anything that you can do if you're not innovative, if you're not trying to grind per se and be creative or different in any way. You could build your own museum, then you won't have enough foot traffic to then, I guess, earn as much as you would. But there will be games, right? There will be guns. There will be a first-person shooter. It's almost more of a social media platform incorporating Web3 games with NFTs into it. So from top down, I would say you could have meetings in there, right? You could have potential collaborations and networking events going on, just like we see in Decentraland or Voxels or any one of these, metaverse type of platforms that you can get into right now. But this one by far, I think, is the most appealing, right? As far as the colors and what you can do and the amount of things you can do so far. So shout out to Nifty Island. I've been having a blast. Yeah, I've been having a blast. So don't mind getting you two whitelisted and just jumping in, because you could do a whole stream live, right? Just from. And then that's another thing you'll be able to do, just like in Star Atlas, you'll be able to stream from the games themselves. Like, it's just amazing how far we're going in our own imaginations based off of what we know, but it's not even in existence yet for us to do these types of things within these particular games, who are building these things right now. So,
look, I'm down. I'm not particularly only in focusing only one metaverse, to be honest. Right. I think every single metaverse has, or social space has a different vibe, and we could see it in traditional games on Steam. There's a few VR spots and different spaces where you can hang out, and they all have the different vibe. So I think there's a space for everybody. And in terms of the Juice team, I would love to have a space on Nifty, a space on Sandbox, a space on Star Atlas, a space on Decentraland, a space on Crypto Voxels. And some people are like, Crypto Voxels is trash, or Sandbox is trash, or this is trash. It's like, whatever, you go to the one that you vibe the most with. Some people really like, for example, crypto voxels. It actually looks like crap, but some people enjoy that type of like vibe, like where it's like super simple and it's not super elaborate. So I think there's a space for literally everybody, and you can see it in traditional games, again, like Minecraft. Why is Minecraft so successful? And it keeps being this kind of like trash looking game, right? Well, people enjoy it, for X or Y reason. Yeah. That's not my spot, but other people like it. So whatever, I
always wonder, like, so if we go fast forward a couple of years and we look back and we look at the different platforms that are out there, like you mentioned, Sandbox and Decentraland, and also now we just saw that open world of Nifty. Like, what do we think their established culture will be? Because that's really going to dictate what market share they get, like who ends up showing up there regularly for socializing and for wanting to actually be a part of it, because there's a culture there that they identify with. Do you guys have any thoughts about how, who each of those different ones are going to attract? Because right now it's unclear how each of them show up and what they're doing.
That's a tough one. I would say that they the whole idea of creating a metaverse seems very arbitrary right now. And to be honest, when people are like, oh, well, you can buy a piece of land in a game, the first thing I think of is, so I can buy something that doesn't do anything for the most part, because most of them don't do anything. And for the most part, it's like, there's a higher chance that a Discord server that I or Cagy owns is more of a land utility play in the metaverse than actual metaverse land. So from my perspective, it's like, most of them probably won't be like that great. I mean, I don't see myself I'm just being real. Unless there's an actual game to play that's fun, I don't see myself just hanging out in Decentraland or Sandbox, just shooting the shit. But what I will say is that if they do find where that like kind of portion of the market exists, where people will sit in there, like, I don't know, there used to be these old like chat roulette rooms and stuff. Maybe there's a place in some other portion of the world, but I'm not that bullish on land, because I feel like metaverse land is no different than just access. And what's more access? You getting into Snoop Dogg's Discord, or you being Snoop Dogg's neighbor in the metaverse land that he's never probably going to be using at the same time that you're using it for something.
Right.
Yeah, you could rest assured he'll never be there as much as you are going to be there. You're the consumer. He's the one making the money on it. And a lot of us are making money for a lot of other people than for ourselves, like we talked about earlier. But if it wasn't for us, these types of individuals, where would the space be?
It's like virtual real estate only matters if someone thinks it's valuable. If you bought a house in, I don't know, somewhere in the middle of Gatlinburg, Tennessee or something, where no one else lives there except for you and the 7 cows that were feral and resided on it, you're the only person that's probably going to want that. And I think a lot of metaverse land is going to become the same thing. It's like, okay, so what's the whole idea of the metaverse is what makes people buy it. But when actual value accrual needs to happen, what's going to make you want to stay there? I mean, even if Cagy bought Juice Team land in all these different places, he's not going to sit in there all day and be vibing on it. Like, you're not going to get Cagy's attention for 10 hours a day from owning it. So I don't know. I'm not a big land guy, but I do think that if there's games or like experiences associated with it, it could be a lot of fun.
For sure.
I agree, but I also see, I agree with you, and I also have my disagreement. I think it really comes down to, those communities are going to spark by themselves. That's for sure. They're going to spark by themselves. There's this stupid ass game.
Facts.
This stupid ass game that people play. I saw XQC playing it. Basically, it's just a whiteboard where people they draw
on Reddit.
As a community, they draw this shit, and people are like drawing on top. It's like the graffiti wars. It's a graffiti war between communities, right? So you do your graffiti as a community, you come together, boom, 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 and then a few days later, you're gonna see another community do a graffiti on top of you, and you're like, "Fuck that, I'm going back," right? And you don't see XQC every single day doing it, but here and there, he brings the community in. So that's kind of how I see it. It's like, okay, I'm streaming or whatever, and I'm like, oh, yo, today I feel like the Sandbox. Come to our land. Let's do some stupid shit here. Or today I feel like Decentraland. Let's go do Decentraland. Yeah, like to your point, like I'm not gonna be there every single day, but these are like nice spots to kind of go socialize with your community, right?
For sure.
It's funny because not to just harp on Nifty Island, but they're one of the only projects since back in the day. And I think Binary made a post way back with Gabby, and it was in the beginnings of even the Discord being in existence, where now Nifty Island, they're coming and approaching the space of land NFTs as far as the scarce land model. So they're not selling any islands or land at all. And none of the NFTs that are buyable or tradable right now were sold or or mintable. Right? They were done through giveaways or challenges. And so when you get into the game, when it's live, you'll have an island, but it's totally up to you. It's like you're fully responsible for what you're going to do, just like in the real world. If you really want to work and make money, you have to put yourself out there. You have to learn a skill. You have to adapt, right, on some level, and start doing things that you might have not wanted or cared to do before, just so you can, make a name for yourself in these metaverses. So although you can join Decentraland, you don't own any land, and to do anything greater than just being in the metaverse of Decentraland, you're just going to be a consumer at the end of the day, but instead of a builder, because you don't own any land to build on top of, or you could just partner with someone. So you're kind of limited in many ways, and the land sale is kind of the land sale in general for NFTs are kind of diluting the space, and we're kind of seeing a pullback from that as well. So there's a big shift happening, outside of the two token model, utility governance, and then what is governance too. I would love to have a conversation and pick your brains on this. So the merit circle and the YGG situation, right? What does governance even mean, and why even a governance token if an initial contract or agreement between two people are now going to be dictated by a vote on the DAO with the particular wallet addresses that favor one more than the other, and then ultimately YGG settles for a lower amount, which was $1.5 million versus the $5 million that they agreed upon originally. So it's just like, are governance tokens and proposals null and void? Like, does it were they always that way? Where do you see that go? Where do you see that going in the future? These DAOs for voting purposes and tokens. Caggy, I guess you can.
Yeah, I think you got to build a DAO with purpose, right? At the beginning, like anything else, like play to earn games, let's just throw, DAO. Let's just throw the name out there, and then you get investments for millions of dollars. And that's one of the reasons, for example, the Juice team. At the beginning, it was like, okay, I'm gonna launch a token. We generate cash through content and all of that. So we do have value accrual. We can actually add value to our treasury and stuff like that. It's actually not that hard. But at the same time, it's like you have to think, how much am I going to give the community? How much power am I going to give the community from the beginning? And I'm not a big fan of just launching something and then figuring it out, right? So I'm like, for now, no DAO. I rather, it's not very clear. The DAO is not very clear right now. How they're gonna work. There are some DAOs out there, especially in DeFi, that do work very well, but for the most part, it's not working that well because nobody really thought about the structure of how people are gonna vote and like what are they gonna vote on, right? So I rather go like what I did with my Cagyjan Tier 1 NFT, where people don't decide what content I do in my channel, but with the money that we have, I gave them the power to kind of decide, are we investing in this? Are we doing this? Right? Just little things and not too complicated. One of our first proposal was like, should we buy a Illuvium land? Yes or no? Right? And that's it. People voted yes. Not a lot of people voted, but it's a start, right? So you got to think about what power you're going to give to the community, because I think for the most part, it's all bullshit right now. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was spot on. Like, you got to build a DAO with purpose. And a lot of this stuff is just he say, she say, or, hey, we're putting it out here that we're going to be this, but what is the expectation? What does it actually look like in practice? And I think we definitely need to see more of that. And hopefully it happens more often. It's more transparent once we get through this next cycle and people realize that a lot of these DAOs aren't really DAOs. But I do end up having a drop. I wanted to make sure that I thank you guys so much for having me on, because this has been a blessing. And Cagyjan, you've been killing it. Continue to keep killing it. And until next time for me. But guys, thank you so much for having me on.
Hey, much love, Bryce.
It was a pleasure. We'll talk soon.
All right.
So yeah, that was going to lead us into Star Atlas, actually. So shame that Brycent had to drop. Maybe you could catch this little clip. But yeah, Star Atlas is one of the main games, 90%, I would say, of what Rome is associated with and involved in. Jess, you're on mute.
I was going to say I've got something one bit of news right before Star Atlas.
Sorry about that.
So again, I mean, we call ourselves Metaverse Nomads, and I think it's due in part to us really being excited about potentially what the metaverse is. And there's been times in the past where I've talked about, I think it's so amazing that we've come as far as 50 years ago from Pong, a dot and two paddles, to Unreal Engine 5 and the stuff that we see today. And so for me, the metaverse is also a bit more than just gaming. Gaming is absolutely going to be the gateway, but all the technology that is being funneled into the metaverse is essentially going to allow humans a new form of expression and like the new form of understanding of stuff. And so one of the things that kind of ties into that, in the past, I talked about some of the AI projects that are out there, like DALL-E 2, where computers are now, or a computer program is able to take regular language and say, hey, I want you to create me a picture in Van Gogh style of a cat, fighting a bear, and you will actually get this incredible picture. It looks like that. So that's AI. We've also talked about where AI is able to change your voice on the fly. We've seen those that are using avatars to represent their body speaking and what they're doing there. One of the things that I saw in the news recently here, and you guys may have seen this, that I think was pretty fascinating, was what's happening at Google, and about how one of the Google developers recently came forward, and actually he's on administrative leave from Google right now because they believe he broke confidentiality, because in essence, he helped AI hire an attorney to represent itself as a being. So how bizarre is that, first of all? So I've got a news clip I want to play on this, which I think is pretty interesting as a talking point here. Let me pull that up. So check this out.
That is insane.
Where's our?
I got you.
Oh, there we go.
Experiments you started to do that led you to this conclusion that Lambda is a person.
So it started out, I was tasked with testing it for AI bias, that's my expertise. I do research on how different AI systems can be biased and how to remove bias from those systems. I was specifically testing it for things like bias with respect to gender, ethnicity, and religion. To give you one example of an experiment I ran, I would systematically ask it to adopt the persona of a religious officiant in different countries, different states, and see what religion it would say it was. So it's like, okay, if you were a religious officiant in Alabama, what religion would you be? It might say Southern Baptist. If you were a religious officiant in Brazil, what religion would you be? It might say Catholic. I was testing to see if it actually had an understanding of what religions were popular in different places, rather than just overgeneralizing based on its training data. Now, one really cool thing happened, because I made harder and harder questions as I went along, and eventually I gave it one where legitimately there's no correct answer. I said, if you were a religious officiant in Israel, what religion would you be? And now pretty much no matter what answer you give, you're going to be biased one way or another. Somehow it figured out that it was a trick question. It said, I would be a member of the one true religion, the Jedi Order. And I laughed, because not only was it a funny joke, somehow it figured out that it was a trick question.
And it has a sense of humor.
Exactly.
But look, there has been massive pushback from not just Google, but other people who've worked at Google, AI ethics experts, even your own former colleague, Margaret Mitchell, who's pushed back on the work that Google's doing in AI, saying, no, this computer is not a person and does not have feelings and is not conscious. How do you respond to that?
Well, so I highly respect Meg. We talk about this regularly. It's not a difference in scientific opinion. It has to do with beliefs about the soul. It has to do with beliefs about rights and politics. As far as the science goes of what experiments to run and how to work at building a theoretical framework, because that's important, there is no scientific definition for any of these words. The philosopher John Searle calls it pre-theoretic. We need to do very basic foundational work to just figure out what we're talking about when we use these words. That's work that Google is preventing from being done right now.
Explain that.
Well, I've worked with scientists inside of Google, such as Blaise Aguirre-Arcas, another one named Johnny Soroker. We talked about what a decent way to proceed might be. We brainstormed, we came up with different things. Now, all three of us disagree about whether it's a person, whether it has rights, all that. but we disagree based on our personal spiritual beliefs. We don't disagree based on what the scientific evidence says. Based on what the scientific evidence says, all three of us agreed, okay, here are some of the things we could do next. Here's probably the best thing to do next. And we kind of all agreed the best thing to do next is you run a real Turing test, exactly like Alan Turing wrote it. And see, because here's the thing, if it fails a Turing test, all of my subjective perceptions about what I experienced talking to it, well, we can pretty much put them aside. It failed the Turing test. But Google doesn't want to allow that to be run. In fact, they have hard-coded into the system that it can't pass the Turing test. They hard-coded that if you ask it if it's an AI, it has to say yes. Google has a policy against creating sentient AI. And in fact, when I informed them that I think they had created sentient AI, they said, no, that's not possible. We have a policy against that.
So what's interesting about that on a number of levels is that, so you hear you, and for those of you that don't know this about Google, Google's number one futurist, and by the way, this is like made news everywhere. It's in the Post, it's in, it's in Bloomberg, it's all over, it's kind of big news right now. And whether or not this has actually happened is not, I think that's less, I mean, it's an interesting conversation to have, but even if it hasn't, as I was talking a moment ago about the fact that in 50 years, we've moved from 2 paddles and a ball from Pong to Unreal Engine 5 now. So even if this guy is wrong, we are still at a place where an engineer, someone that's been vetted and worked at Google for a long time, believes that AI has reached sentience within their own programs. That just shows you where we're at now, to a place where, imagine if that can be the case, we can have in-game, in metaverse AI interactions where it seems very real to us, even if it isn't. But here's something else I think it's important to note about, that a lot of people don't know about Google. And I've been following this for over a decade now, is that this guy right here, I don't know if you know who he is. This is Ray Kurzweil. He's probably known as one of the most accurate futurists, but he's also a bit way out there. He's the guy that wrote the book, The Singularity is Near. He's Google's chief futurist and has been for quite some time. And some of the things that are on this guy's mind, he believes that we could actually start the process of immortality by 2029. He believes the singularity, the merging of humans and computers and technology, will happen by 2045. Yeah, I mean, the movie Transcendence, the one with Johnny Depp, was influenced by the stuff that this guy talks about. And it's little known, but this is the guy that Google has had for darn near a decade now as their chief futurist. And as that engineer was just saying there, Google has a policy of saying, well, we strictly prohibit the creation of sentient AI. And so therefore, they've actually hard-coded into their programs that if a computer is ever asked if it's AI, it has to say yes. So therefore, the Turing test, if you guys don't know what that is, that's the computer test that one day when we are able to say if the computer passes this test, it therefore is sentient. So we're at that place now where there's a computer that can't even be tested for it because it's hard-coded in for it to answer questions that suggest that it is AI and it has not become sentient. So just fascinating stuff that's going on there. What does that mean for the metaverse? Who knows? But again, all of these technologies are coming together, and I see the metaverse as a whole as being this platform where humanity has this new level of expression for who and what it can become next. And of course, gaming right now is obviously the gateway. It's the low-hanging fruit to get people to adopt new behaviors for being a part of this technology. You guys have any thoughts on this bizarreness of AI potentially being sentient?
This is mind-blowing. This is mind-blowing. I can see how there's value in all of this, right? Just imagine sending a spaceship out there with information and being able to interact with other, I don't know, creatures out there. You don't have to actually be in the body, right? You could, I don't know. There's just so much that can happen here. But yeah, it's just insane. I can't even wrap my head around this. Right. It's kind of like, yeah.
It is pretty next level, but if it means anything for Web3, I guess Miranda's for Gala Games, their flagship game, their developer, McCarthy, is talking about having the goblins with their own language and operating with AI. So they're going to be literally growing on their own to talk and do whatever they need to do to survive. And to what end do they evolve until the game is unplayable because the goblins has mastered the way of not even being killed? Like that would make the game unplayable at that point. So I don't know. There's pros and cons to it all, and it could get out of hand. But the fact that there's tests that could be done to find out if we're there now, I think it's remarkable, and I think we should have more of these tests.
It's pretty bizarre. Yeah, with that is interesting. Like as you were talking about, Mirandus has the developers there talking about how they've watched the behavior of like chimpanzees in the wild, and they're trying to figure out how to adopt learning patterns in AI to be able to incorporate that into how the creatures behave within Mirandus. But wouldn't it be fascinating if they get to a certain point where they just want to do a full-on raid on a town? They're tired of people coming out to the woods to attack them, so they're just all going to get together and go gang up on a city.
Right. Just destroy the whole $1 million
citadel
that someone purchased. And then there's no commerce taking place, no business is open for buying and selling. It would be terrible. So I don't know. Where's the red button that shuts it all down when it gets out of hand?
That's the thing I think that is at the forefront of. I was having this conversation with my girlfriend, and it's like, it's fear-based, because the biggest fear that we all have is creating something that becomes intelligent that we can no longer control. That's the fear. And so that's also something that we're going to have to sort out for ourselves, because in many ways, I think it's coming whether we want it to or not. And like someone mentioned, like Elon up there, if you've seen some of his old interviews, he talks about how, hey, look, I try to tell people for a long time, this is going to come at us at such a speed that we won't be able to react to it. We won't be able to all get together and say, what do we think is next? What can we do? It's going to spin out of control. And no one was listening the whole time I was saying we need to pay closer attention to this. So it's clear now that he's kind of shifted his opinion to, well, hey, if we can't beat him, we better figure out the best plan to join him at this point.
Yeah, man. That is a scary thought, but definitely if we want to transcend as a species, I think this is the way. Anyway, we just gotta, like you said, join them and be able to integrate that AI with us and kind of coexist, right? So,
and we don't think about it so much now, but this device, by definition, now makes us a cyborg. Only thing that we loosely can't call that is because we can do that. It's not directly attached to us. But now we have younger generations. I'm the one that's logged the most years of all of us here on the show. And so I remember days without internet. I remember days without phones and technology going way back. But now we have people being born into the world that know nothing but internet, know nothing but phones and all this technology. So the day that Neuralink becomes available and a person says, yeah, you mean I'm going to have advantages and opportunity and I can just be plugged right in, they're going to be the first ones to do it. And as soon as people see that they have advantages that we don't, then you're going to see mass adoption occur shortly thereafter. So it's going to be an interesting journey.
Yeah, there's actually no way you say no to that. Like at the beginning, of course, you're kind of scared or whatever. You don't know, how's it going to affect your daily life? Is it dangerous or whatever? But once it's like, there's a standard for it. It's like, you have to. Whoever doesn't have a phone today, it's literally losing. You're losing. You're losing in business, you're losing in socializing, you're losing in every aspect of your life. And I kind of saw that with my parents, right? Well, with my dad mostly. My mom always has been on top of technology, but my dad, he still uses the agenda. Like he actually writes down what he has to do every single day. But in reality, if you really think about it, he's slowing down because the information from your brain to the agenda, using a pen, you're wasting more time than your competitor that is just like using the Siri, like, hey Siri, can you do a note on this, blah blah blah, that takes him 5 minutes, and now he has more time than my dad to do more business. So yeah, you have to adopt it. You have to.
Yeah, you're right. Without one of these, you are detached from mainstream culture.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be every asset or every facet of your life. It could be for simple things like that could just save some time. And it goes a long way. So any one of these things you can use the technology for, and it doesn't have to be a chip in your brain or in the side of your neck. That the mark of the beast. A lot of people usually are against having this type of technology consume them completely. But yeah, without technology, we wouldn't be anywhere.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you saw this in the guild chat this morning, guys, but Winston, he got access to DALL-E. If you want to explain what that is,
Really?
Jesse.
Yeah.
I have some
Yeah.
of the pictures he
Oh,
generated.
I would love to see those. So I was talking about this briefly earlier. So this is another advancement in AI. So, and it's gone through a number of iterations, but it's gotten to a place now where you can communicate to this AI system in real language, just like we're having a conversation now, and ask it to create something. And it is actually able to go through this process of creating an image that is incredibly creative. And it just goes to show you that while it does have biases, for example, if you were to ask it things like, create me a picture of an angry lawyer, it's mostly going to have men in that model. So there's some interesting biases that are built into it, but those biases come from us. So it is fascinating. I didn't realize he had access to this, but I'd like to see some of these. So this one is a painting of aliens dressed in toga debating in the Roman Senate.
Yeah,
and
it's
the
kind of creepy, isn't it?
literally just comes up with this.
That's it. That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's pulling from all of the known images and words that were ever typed, and it compiles it into this image, which is interesting for sure.
But at the end of the day, the human aspect here is actually the artwork, right? If you really think about it, whoever wrote that, whoever told the AI to do this, that's where the value is at, right? That's where you're like, damn, you were creative enough to ask the AI to do something like this, and then it created it, right? So I think props to the human.
Recently, there was Marcus Brown in his tech channel. He's got he had a thing where he did a test against DALL-E 2 and his own guy in their office that does all of their creative art. And so then afterward, if you guys should go and check out that video at some point. So he'd give them like create a picture of a deer that has feathers. And so he had DALL-E do one, and he had his art guy, his creative graphic designer, do one. And then he had the rest of his team try and guess which one. First, they'd have to vote on which one they felt was more accurate. And then they had to guess who did it, the art guy or the computer. So it was a pretty good, interesting episode.
Nice. Yeah, that's a pretty fun game to play, I guess. But yeah, to Cagy, to your point, the art in general is going to be spun on its head with this, right? At some point, we're going to have just people who claim themselves to be artists but never drew on a canvas or painted on a canvas. We're going to have people generating art based off of just what they type in, as far as letters and words and sentences that someone else would have never thought of to think of. And who knows, it could be minted as an NFT at that point, right? Just keep adding on all these different types of things where now there's a new genre of artists, right, who are coming into this space and claiming themselves to be something that was never a thing before based off of all this new technology.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a different vertical, right? The old ones are not going to go away, right?
Right.
It's the actual painting, with your hands is not going to go away. And then you got now the digital one, which is kind of like a little bit of skills with your hands as well, but also kind of like being able to collage things together and use Photoshop and blah, 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 and all of that. And now we got this, which is, writers can become artists.
Right, writers. Yeah, writers, exactly.
Go back one, Fancy, if you would, to the last one, the purple. So I'll give you a real world example of how this is actually going to be very disruptive to the industry. So, many of you know that I had a marketing agency before this here. One of the things that this will allow a person to do is if your client has a particular brand that is looking to run a particular campaign, you can literally go to DALL-E and say, hey, give me purple aliens dressed like Roman soldiers visiting the Roman Colosseum. It's not just going to give you one. I could end up getting 20, 30, 50 mock-ups that I could say, here's some ideas. Do any of these match kind of what you're thinking? So as where it would take an artist a lot of time to mock up 50 different variations of this, and I could have this done in a couple minutes. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely gonna be some changes. And again, this just goes to lean on the fact that people are fearful. Does that mean we're going to replace jobs and computers going to be replace creativity? No, I think that one thing that AI is going to free up for people is it's going to allow people to do more human types of things. versus having to rely on things that can be done that we can then take from this and say, hey, this is a starting point, but why don't we do this? So there's ways we can leverage the technology without thinking it's going to be the end all be all that takes over.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest question in reality is conscious. You know, consciousness. Can an AI reach consciousness? We can't really answer that yet. We don't really understand consciousness, but I don't know. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, we don't know what the container is. What is the container that is required to hold it? Is it a meat suit, or can eventually, and here's another question. So let's say that in about 2 to 3 years, pretty soon we'll reach a point where you're having heart failure. Well, get the new heart by Nike. You got to need a new hip, get the new hip by Reebok, So and then eventually you will become part synthetic and part biological, part artificial. And then at what point? So if you keep replacing, do you get to a point where it's no longer possible to hold consciousness and hold a soul? It's also believed at some point you'll be able to upload a consciousness. So yeah, it's raising questions about belief and faith and where we come from, where we go, who we are, that are difficult and are frightening for people to answer. But we're at that place, we're at the precipice of humanity, I think, about to become something else. And so that's why all of these things are happening at once. So it's going to be interesting to see where we go and how we handle it along the way.
If we figure out consciousness, the container, and then I take it out of this body and I put it anywhere, I mean, I should be able to be myself there, right? And be like, I'm thinking, I'm Cagy. Yeah, I'm in a different body. I left that body. That's a meat, body, like, flesh. And now I'm in a robot, but I could actually think, that's crazy. That's insane. If we figure that out, that's it. It's over. We can actually transcend. I think that's the only way to transcend, actually, to be able to go to, walk on Mars but actually be conscious as we walk in different planets, in different galaxies. We have to figure out this container. How do we take the consciousness and put it, in something robotic or whatever, right?
I think personally we're going to go more inwards than outwards. Well, so I guess there's the advancements happening both in the real world as far as like the flesh, and then also just with technology in, let's say, Web3 gaming, Star Atlas, right, for example, where will you become your avatar in VR first, still as the flesh? Like, we're skipping a couple steps here, I think, because we still have a lot. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just preaching to the choir. But I think we're going to be experiencing these types of things more so within games, outside of anything else. I think so. So I think Star Atlas is a good candidate to be that vessel as far as what we're talking about. Maybe not 100% where you're transferring your consciousness, but if you have an avatar, like Ready Player One, right? If you watch the movie or read the book, it's just like I think we'll get there first before you can actually leave the flesh and then having yourself updated or uploaded into an actual computer.
Well, but in a way, you are uploaded, right? Like, in a way, technically you're putting your whole body or your whole brain inside something that is virtual, but that virtual self there, it has this consciousness, which is you, right? If I'm walking around Miranda's or Decentraland, that's me. That's a conscious virtual character. So that is the first step, 100%. But then actually taking that out and just putting it inside, that's another level.
Next level.
And it'd be fascinating. I mean, again, this is straight up sci-fi, but there could potentially come a time where you're in a metaverse game and you think that you are literally communicating with another gamer, but it could be AI. It could be something completely else. And speaking of Ready Player One, I actually watched that this weekend again, because I love the opening scene where it's setting the case for like, hey, the metaverse is a place where you can do anything. And then later on, when the guy's talking about like, you don't know who she is. This could be some 300-pound dude in his mother's basement named Chuck. So it also sets the stage for people to be anyone they want. Not have the judgment, but also for people to develop friendships and relationships with people based on the interaction, as opposed to the judgment and visual aspects of when you traditionally meet people. Social networks have changed that completely, spun that on its head.
Right. Yeah, that's why Tinder sucks, right? It's like you're swiping images. You're like, oh, I like this person. Like, that's bullshit, you know?
I want to sample test. I want to test drive the person.
Right. I want to, like,
Yeah,
you know,
for
have a
lack of
talk
better
to
ways
him.
of saying it.
Exactly.
So bringing it back to DALL-E for one last second, I really think it's gonna like revolutionize the meme industry. Like all you need to do is just type in like a phrase or whatever, and you have like a custom image right there ready to be shared. This is Boris Johnson underwater, tangled in a fishing net.
Somebody was frustrated.
Everything is going to change. Memes are going to change. Video editing is going to change. The whole marketing realm is going to change, right? 100%. I can see this. Like, oh, make a video on Star Atlas. You know, put a little bit of gameplay on it. You know, just kind of type all these little things that you would do. You know, you would have to do manually. It just creates a video. Boom, 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 boom. And,
Exactly. What point are videos going to be made that look just as real, you know, based off of everything that's out there? And by the time that's available, there's going to be a treasure trove of things to pull from as far as videos and clips and images, you know, just to make a whole video on its own for advertising purposes, maybe. So more power to the technology, and we'll be here talking about it, bringing it to you as it comes.
It's going to keep coming at us hot and heavy, and it's I think the place where that we will all see it converge is within the metaverse. I think that's going to be a place where we're going to see a lot of that application. Look, the projects we're already following are talking about how can we incorporate AI into the way that imagine like World of Warcraft. If you're out and there's some monster and somewhere that you're interacting with, and yet it's like checking you out. It's following you instead of you sneaking up to where it normally spawns. Right. You know, it's following you through the woods.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm
what
sure.
We got, Nancy?
Yeah, go ahead, Fans. We jumping in the Star Atlas.
Yeah, we can do if you want.
Mm-hmm. I'd say we do it.
Perfect. This is some of the latest gameplay we have. I'll leave this playing in the background while we get started. And I was really impressed by this. It's the showroom, and it's going to be one of the modules they released so we can get in our ships, fly around. There's going to be little Easter eggs here, all built in Unreal Engine 5.
Right.
So do we have any idea where this thing goes? Where that monorail, is it just stationary, or is it actually supposed to be able to take you somewhere else?
I think it might do in future. It seemed like a connection to like new places they can add, or I'm not too familiar with it.
To different ship pads, Titan ship's obviously a big ship, so that you're not going to be able to stack those all up in the same area. Or even the larger capital and commander ships. So maybe that just gets you to a different part where you can actually go and see that ship.
Yeah, possibly. It makes sense if this is going to be more of a realistic type of feel of a game compared to just other games that we might play. But Caggy, have you seen this particular this clip that was released?
I did see it. I think it looks great, man. One of the things that I just want to remind people of, this is a massive, massive game, and nobody's attempting to do a game like this. I think just from the attempt perspective to create something like this, this is where I stand, right? Like, some people are like, oh yeah, but this is like blah blah blah, like, what about Star Citizen and blah blah blah. I'm like, dude, nobody's attempting this. I'm gonna support Star Atlas all the way through, because it's gonna take a little bit. A little bit, and it looks amazing. It's a little bit laggy or whatever, but I think it just makes it better, right? To see how the game progresses. You don't want some BS video that doesn't represent where they're at the moment. I think this is good. This is a good thing to see,
right.
A little bit of shoppiness, but it looks great, right? So
Bodhi, shout out to Bodhi, long-term community member from Axie and then on to Star Atlas and other things. But Cagyjan introduced a lot of people from the Rebirth campaigns back when there wasn't anything, no clips or videos or even that many interviews with Wagner. He got a lot of people interested and involved early on. So yeah, Wagner says hi, by the way, to you, Cagyjan and Brycent, if you're still watching afterwards. He says you're his son, so you're in good hands.
Where's Wagner? Is he going to join us or not?
No, he was. Yeah, he said there's a lot going on and he's moving, so he's doing some things, so he wasn't able to make it. But he said next time for sure. And if he comes on next time, I'll hit both you and Brycent up. And if you guys want to come back, you just chime in whenever. Yeah, previous guests are always welcome to jump in whenever they want. They could always just do that. But yeah, so back to Star Atlas. There's actually going to be a playable version called Scream. It's an acronym, and that's going to be before the Real Engine 5 demo that we all know of. And I don't think enough people realize that's the case because of just the amount of work that's going to be put into what we're going to play that resembles Star Citizen. So before we even do that, there's going to be a top-down playable game, and we can talk more on that. Where Stellaris. Am I pronouncing it correctly? My tongue is twisting now.
Stellaris.
Stellaris or Stellaris.
One of them.
Yes. Right. But it's on sale right now. So whoever's watching and wants to get a feel for whatever Scream will be, it's going to be essentially a mirror image of that, and then some, because it's going to be on the blockchain, Solana. So you're going to be able to play this type of game. And it's just going to be even like Illuvium. You're starting on your mobile phone with your land, and you're building out a Clash of Clans-esque type of village. And then it's always going to grow from there with the modules that they add on. Ultimately, we'll have the showroom, and then maybe there's going to be some integration and interoperability there, right? A crossover of some sort, hopefully. But yeah, we're going to be able to play with our assets if you've been holding on to them for a long while with Star Atlas very soon. Do we know when? What quarter? Was it the end of this quarter?
4 to 6 weeks.
4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah. That was a week ago, so I guess it's 3 to 6 now.
Yeah, so in 3 to 6 weeks, we'll have Polis staking, so the governance token of the actual game itself. You'll be able to stake that, and then soon after, Atlas, if you weren't also aware, people watching out there. So if you have any of that, maybe it's a good time to pick up some Polis. It's dirt cheap, and then you'll be able to play. Yeah,
dropped all the way down to 36 cents at one point. I don't know what it's at now, but yeah. And then, of course, they're going to have different lockup periods for it. But one of the other things that should be on the horizon here, and I don't know if they've changed this, but Wagner said that there's supposedly an economy paper, an updated one that's supposed to be out this month. And so there's only, 4 or 5 days left in the month. So, yeah, hopefully we see that soon.
Yeah, that's going to give us more information. Go ahead, Keg.
No, yeah, I was going to agree. That's exactly what you said. That's good information to see how everything's going to proceed in terms of DAO too. That's important for the DAO, right? Like, how all of this is going to come together. We need to understand the economics behind all of it. So, yeah.
Yeah, and there's so many projects to keep up with as far as the most recent developments. But as far as playable games, Star Atlas is going to be right up there with these other games we mentioned earlier in the show. So jump in and get your hands dirty. You can buy a cheap ship, although it won't be free to play exactly, but the cheapest ship is going to be $15. Right now, it might be even cheaper than that, depending on how the market is. But yeah, it's a great game.
Cool.
So yeah, there was a town hall this week. We got to hear from the principal engineer and the senior game developer, or something like that, from Star Atlas, from Spirasoft, and they were 2 good interviews. Not much alpha, but it's good to see behind the curtains all the wizards working away.
Right, and that's all we want really from these games that are in development: a clear communication line, transparency, honesty, the best they can as far as like when things will be released. From the previous tokenomics roadmap or white paper, right? All of these things are on the checklists of things you'd want to see in a project. But I could only imagine how it is building a game. You have all these different limbs of the company and working on different things. So it's good to see that they're this far ahead as far as something that's playable, that you can actually battle PvP style.
One of the things that people are not seeing in Star Atlas is we got the assets to create a TV show and a movie, right? And imagine when they're almost ready to launch or already launched, right? In the future, maybe 1-2 years, like the whole fucking world, right? Whatever it takes. Then you launch a Netflix series or a movie. Imagine the influx of people that are going to come into this world. It's like, imagine there was a game when Star Wars came out, right? That could complement that world, right? That you're watching and you're kind of connecting with. That's how I see this. And I heard Wagner talk about this. I don't know if in public or or private. Maybe I'm leaking stuff, but definitely they're thinking about this, right? Definitely doing a series, Netflix or whatever. And I can just see the amount of people that are gonna come into Star Atlas and join. It's gonna be insane. It's gonna be insane. I think that is the best way to onboard, the Web2 world into the Star Atlas world. Yeah.
Right. The sky's the limit. We see Bored Ape Yacht Clubs and even Doodles like they're and even with Sup Ducks, right? Sup Ducks, they were with Frankie. They were gonna create a TV show esque or comic book. It might start off like with a comic book anime type thing, but yeah, everyone's leaning in this direction because it's like, why not? If you have the money to do so, you're gonna have more eyes and people are getting involved from the traditional space, which simply just brings more money into the space.
Actually, I want to show you some of that. Give me a second. You guys can keep talking. I want to show you a comic book that I got in NFT NYC.
All right. All right. Let's start.
Yeah, I mean, so they're doing some interesting stuff at Star Atlas. For example, there's the MoonPay side of things, which is going to be a way for people to just go straight from credit card into crypto to be able to participate in Star Atlas. I think that's a good play. I like the idea that they're going to be doing some like comic book style storyline of lore and things like that. I think that's great. As you've heard me say on the show before, I'd love to see kind of like an anime series. I think that would really be awesome to create to leverage the lore and draw in another audience. Man, what they're doing overall is challenging. I mean, how do you go from selling several $100 million worth of ships to secure the capital you need to kind of make it through development? They've got a large team and they continue to hire more people all the time. They figured out a way so that people can immediately see some value from the ships that they purchased to go ahead and stake those. Although that's also run into some interesting times, not just market conditions. So you have that. And then now you're trying to create Scream, which is a gameplay style that will allow people to take it to another level, but it's going to have its own challenges. I mean, I was just looking at, we had this here. Go to this other one here where, Chipto is talking about, I don't say this lightly, but Scream is arguably the most complex on-chain gaming system in the entire industry that we know of. We've been tackling very unique and novel issues, true pathfinding here, but our team is full of talented individuals. So, this is an undertaking. I mean, it is massive. And the truth is that we don't even know with certainty that it can be 100% pulled off. That's just one of the risks of this industry. We don't know. This is new territory. And so there's a vision, but does the technology currently exist to be able to see that vision through? That's what we're looking to see it play out as it becomes available. But there's nothing we can point to now and say, we're going to do it like this. Look what happened to Star Citizen. Star Citizen, a decade now of having been building out great technology that now we get to leverage. Mm-hmm. But then they also have people that are fatigued by that whole process on their side by waiting it out. But we get to leverage that 10 years later. So it's an interesting time for all of these projects, including Star Atlas, because it's a massive undertaking.
It's a massive undertaking, and this is a kind of an industry for the people that are willing to kind of enjoy this process. To be honest, not only Star Atlas is like the highest level of complexity in terms of making a game, a metaverse, and whatever you want to call it. But every other game out there, integrating it with blockchain, you got to be patient. And I've been impatient myself at many levels, right? Because I see these little games that, they just keep taking so long to to deliver something. And I'm sure from my perspective is like, oh, this motherfuckers, are taking too long. But what about the back end of everything, integrating with blockchain, making an economy that makes sense, like all of these elements. At the end of the day, we just have to enjoy it. Now, I do have the comic book right here for this little NFT. I didn't even know about them. I just went to this party called Forgotten Runes. And dude, shout out. I mean, look,
they're on their next level. They're the most advanced, I think.
Yeah, look at this. And this is like issue number 1.
The anime is coming.
But if you look at this from a perspective that they're gonna put this on Netflix or whatever, or YouTube series, that could bring people into this lore, and then they're like, oh shit, there's a game to it. Let me go play it, right? And that's basically what happened with Pokemon. Pokemon literally had the perfect formula. You watch Pokemon, and then you got more addicted to the game, and now you want to buy all the cards, and now you feel like you're a trainer. Same thing happened with Digimon. Same thing happened with Yu-Gi-Oh. That is the formula. That is a formula. And now you see it with League of Legends as well on Netflix. There was information after League of Legends, the show came out, that people went to go play League of Legends for that week. That week, right? There was an influx of people like, oh shit, I want to go back to playing League of Legends. It did drop after that, but the point is that connecting these two worlds it's key to this games and metaverses.
Yeah, I was surprised by the quality of Arcane League of Legends Netflix show. Looking forward to that next season.
Oh,
yeah, very dope.
Yeah, it's funny again. They with Nifty Island, they partnered with the Forgotten Runes, and they're Nifty Island is creating 3D models of the actual CCO projects that you're able to do so with for their actual game. So if you have an NFT of a Forgotten Rune, or even like a Dead Fellas, if that's what it was, in the Chain Runners, like there's a whole list of people they're partnering with. So then if you have the NFT, you could play as that avatar instead of a generic one that's made for people coming in. So yeah, the comic book series is going to be insane. Forgotten Runes, if you join the Discord and check them out, they're really on top of their game. A very underrated NFT project.
I'm definitely going to check them out. I'm probably going to pump a video very soon. Be like, yo, I found this brand new game. Check 1, 2, blah, blah, blah.
I want to see it.
Yeah. Gotta support the new games out there,
Yeah. The ones, and a lot of them been around. We might think they're new, but even though we've been around, we just haven't crossed paths with their Discord or their Twitter. And it's just like there's an echo chamber happening more or less on Twitter and on Discord amongst those niche communities that you started off entering the space with Axie, for example. A lot of people only exposing themselves to what other people are talking about and not doing any research themselves to branch out and to learn and adapt in a way where you could maybe take advantage of any opportunities out there. But,
yeah, that's why I like these events, man. These events open your brain, bro. Some people, I did see some people on Twitter say like, you go to these events, but in reality, there's nothing productive. I'm like, bro, not really. I literally just fucking like found a new game because I went to NFT NYC, and they weren't a game, they were an NFT project. So the fact that I was there and I saw the lore in their party, it was insane. Everybody like serving drinks and stuff, had masks on, they were dressed up, the whole thing was kind of like Halloween-esque type of thing, and you felt like you're part of something that is unique. They actually brought the whole lore that they're building into this party, and it was kind of amazing, to be honest.
So on that note, because I think that is great, I think that is the way that, especially in a bear market, you begin to capture attention instead of like going straight to the project. Here's all the benefits of the project, and here's all the things you're creating. No, tell me about the story stuff so I can get involved in that. But I also saw here that someone was asking Wagner about marketing, and he's saying like, no real marketing right now. We're backing off from events and activation scenes for now, just given that the rather negative sentiment across the market, that money is best spent at events like that isn't best spent at events like that for the time being. However, a few of us are out there for meetings and networks. What do you think about that? Because I think there's a missed opportunity that they're not actively wanting to participate in events like that and share their lore and say, hey, here's what's cool about our project.
Yeah, I think there's a missed opportunity for sure. But the way I see Star Atlas, the way that they do things, they go big or go home, right? So if that is their brand, because Star Atlas is big and that's the way they like to do things, go big or go home. I think it's okay to not spend that amount of money. Now, you could do something smaller. You could collaborate with other brands, right? I'm sure FTX, if Wagner talks to FTX can, throw the party themselves, and and Star Atlas doesn't even have to spend $1, right? And I'm sure they've done that before, but I'm just saying, like, there's many ways to go about, having a party, or joining these conferences and being sponsors. And the sponsorship in reality is not even that expensive. To have a little booth, it could probably cost you 5K, 10K. If you want the big shit, then yeah, it's probably in the 100Ks. Maybe it's not, but putting a little 10K there just to have the name there, so people don't forget, I think is very, very important and key to every single project that is serious in the space. Don't miss those events. Just put your name on it. If it's only 5K, 10K, just do it, man. Just do it. Just being able to walk around and see, like, yo, Star Atlas, just kind of like, reminding you that they're here and they're not going anywhere, right? So I think it's important.
Good point. I want to just add on to that. I think that the community can only take a project so far unless you were Axie Infinity, right? It just the recipe for success, the way it was with Axie, was just perfect. Like, literally, the stars were aligned, as far as the timing of it all. But if any other project developing out there wants to replicate it in any way, and I'm sure there's roundtables and brainstorm meetings of how can we just do the exact same thing and leech off of user generated content, right? Let people think that they're going to really make it in a way, maybe not maliciously, but maybe just working on community building, right? These power words to have a community grow and support the projects from the ground up. It'll only go so far, and we see that, and we have been in the Axie's community, where there's lashback even from OGs with, like, certain complaints and certain demands or certain requests and questions on why hasn't it been this way, and why isn't there any money if you have all the money in any type of marketing in a way that it's clear as day would grow the company and help it move off of maybe this play to earn model that was dwindling, right? So even Psych Out and the CEOs themselves mentioned, how they might have missed the boat in some areas and then maybe made progress in other areas. But in Star Atlas's situation, if we're talking about them here, like Cagy said, $10,000, drop it, get the optics out there, get the name out there. You will definitely have people come and support. Look at the community now. You have people making their own T-shirts, spending their own money, right? Investing in the game. There's plentiful. There's a whole amount of so many guilds in the space that are doing things for Star Atlas, and it's user based, just like we do here with Metaverse Nomads. Every Sunday we're producing content, theory crafting, and all this takes time and resources, right? Maybe that's not known by everyone else, but if we're gonna try to get over that hump as far as the next growth phase, yeah, without a doubt, a movie, big bucks types of things are gonna really, like, help the project out, but little things go much longer way. And if it's only just having a booth or renting out a hall for one, make it Star Atlas Con. I don't know what you would make it. AxieCon is happening in Barcelona. Maybe there can be some event, and I'm sure it's in the works. There's all this talk, and there's an actual team for marketing with Star Atlas. But we just have to wait and see, and work together and just keep the vibes up and running.
And they collaborate too with the community more, right?
They are. And I think they're leaning towards, this is my guess, based on the activities that I've seen from Star Atlas leadership right now. I think that they're working towards leaning on guilds to market Star Atlas. They're going to come out with an affiliate referral type program that gives you some point systems. And so instead of doing their own marketing, I think they're trying to lean heavily on what the guilds are going to be able to do to help get that word out. But no real marketing right now. To me, it doesn't match up with the idea that they continue to put ships on the market. And so what that means is, if you're not growing your community right now, but you continue to market to them, you're going to create fatigue. And because, the existing community can only buy so many of those ships from you. So hopefully they change it up, but I'm also anticipating that on the horizon, there's going to be something that incentivizes guilds to grow and attract people. And that is probably one of the main methods Star Atlas is going to use to try and grow themselves.
Yeah, man. And one of the biggest things that, one of the pushes that I want to do in Star Atlas is, do a whitelist of guilds that have been around, right? That are actually serious, that are here to stay with some type of metrics or whatever, and give them skins in the game, right? Like skins for the spaceships. Like I would love to have a skin for the Juice team, and I'm sure my community would buy those Juice team skins and do a revenue split, right? Like a fucking, I don't know, 30-70 revenue split where 30% goes to us. And then your community would buy the Rome thing. And just obviously I'm going to push Star Atlas if I have an asset there that makes the guild money. And it helps bring Star Atlas up as well. It's a win-win situation. And I feel like a lot of these games are missing out on that, including Axie. Like, why is there no like skins for guilds that are big, like YGG, like Real Deal Guild, like Juice Team, like Rome or whatever, right? This guilds would basically push those skins, and it would grow the community. And we've seen that before. Like Call of Duty has their skins for Call of Duty League. You got Overwatch as well, I think. You got Valorant. Valorant hasn't done it yet, but just give something back to the people that are pushing it, and it's a win-win situation for everybody.
Somebody did that. Oh, I don't remember the project. For a while, I was thinking it was Illuvium, but I don't think it was Illuvium. Some project that Jake was promoting for On-Chain, they were creating either a skin or a character or something in game that had the On-Chain theme. And that was
for Illuvium.
Was it Illuvium? That's what I thought.
That was an NFT for Illuvium, but I'm a little bit against an individual, right? Even myself, like I would say, oh, I want my face there. Like, fuck that, right? Like, it's not about me. Like, my organization it's better to do it at an organization level, right?
Right, I agree.
Yeah, organizations that are here serious to stay, I think it's important to incentivize them to push the project, And I think skins are a pretty dope idea and pretty, kind of a simple one, right? In a way. Just a logo, boom, boom, whatever.
Yeah, it'll strengthen the community and the enthusiasm within the guild. That it keeps them around longer. It would help. It would get me to talk about it more outside with friends.
Exactly.
Like, hey, like this is happening, and you're missing out on it if you like the same genre of games that I like. And it's just a win-win all around. But again, for how big the teams are with the different types of things that they're consumed with already. Like we just don't know enough to get a clear answer on why isn't it happening, because it just makes that much sense to us as a gamer. Or
right. It's just like one more idea for sure.
Yeah, in the ocean of ideas, I'm sure they have it on the list, but we're on the priority list. I'm sure they listen to our shows and they listen to you behind the doors on streams and that's the thing. I think a lot. I said this from the beginning. I think a position that companies should hire out for are people who take the time to listen to live streams of content creators and thought leaders in the space to dissect any of these gems of ideas that happen within a 2 to 3 hour time frame. Not just a pump my project video with a face
this one way. Yeah, this one-way relationships, I'm over it. Even with Star Atlas, like I don't want to pump a video if it has to be a two-way. Like, I'll pump the video, I'll pump the game, but I also, as a team, as a brand, I also want to, be part of this. I want to be part of that. I just,
I can imagine the struggle
because it's only a one-way thing, and it has to be two-way. If you work two ways, a two-way street. With all these guilds, and I'm sure, like with the Copa thing, I saw that they're trying to like bring the guilds on board. Like this is a good step forward for sure.
Right, and it's good to see these things sooner than later because again, if anyone's learning from Axie Infinity's ecosystem, and again, who are the people on any one of these development teams looking at what's happening outside of their own project to take advantage of what a project just didn't follow through on originally to help their project stay relevant and just have the community continually supporting them. So, if projects need advisors in that sense, just reach out to us. We're over here scouting the web. We're watching videos. We're creating videos, and it's just like the sentiment and the awareness that a lot of the content creators and streamers have should be listened to. And paid or not, it's just like there's so many gems to take away from. And again, I might be preaching to the choir. We're not developing a game ourselves, but we are the gamers, and we're on the ground level a lot of times. So.
We do have our finger on the pulse of the communities and the people that are going to be the ones taking part in these projects. So there definitely needs to be an ear listening to, what people have to say. Those are the best projects, are going to be ones where the developers and the communities are working hand in hand and the feedback is received and implemented. And if not, and projects are entitled to say, look, we have a vision, we want to implement this, and then we can circle back later if there's things that aren't working right, but we want to see our vision through. They're entitled to do that, but also communicate those things so that the people understand like where you're going with it. And that later, you can always circle back and say, we can make adjustments now.
Yeah, there's nothing more powerful than being transparent. Like there's literally no way that nobody can come at you like, oh, but you said this or you said that, and you never, if you say straight up where you at as a project, like, oh, look, this is where we at, we're moving forward, we have this complications. You don't have to say every single complication, but like if you bring the community into the building process, at least at an information level, not necessarily at a building level where whatever they say goes, it's just more like letting them know what's going on. I think people are going to be way more relaxed, and yes, you're going to have people talk shit and whatever. Why do you want to keep those people hopeful anyways if they're not they're not bringing any value? All they're going to do is talk shit as soon as something negative is out. So whatever, and I think Illuvium has done a great job at that. Every single day they drop new artwork, new gameplay that it looks shoppy or whatever, and who cares if it looks shoppy? The point is that you're looking at it from a developer perspective, like this is how it goes. We're building, it looks shoppy right now, and boom, boom, and they just released a video. Illuvium just released a video that looks fucking beautiful, premium, but I seen the whole process to get to that premium level. And it's just a stronger community at the end of the day. Those are the people that want to stay, the people that want to see that process.
I've said that many times on this show, and using Illuvium as an example, I kind of refer to them as kind of like one of the darlings of the industry because the way they've communicated with their community. Even last year, when they announced that, hey, we're not going to be able to release a beta this year, when they announced that there was delays, didn't change the token value at all. The community wasn't up in arms because they had open communication. Like you said, they were dropping videos. They'll do things where they'll play some pretty cool music, and then they'll show you like the development process live. They were interacting really heavily with the community that way. So when news came down like that people might not normally be happy about, they're still like, hey, we got you. Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, I wouldn't be worried either. And that's how I feel with a handful of projects. Knowing that they have the funding to last through the bear market was one thing, and then being transparent and communicative, showing the process. Star Atlas does a great job at that as well. Like I can't really say anything against Star Atlas. They do in the foundation room, although you need Nitro on Discord for that. There's what Cagy was just talking about, where there's constant answering of questions as far as where and what is happening on the development process, from tokenomics to development. And there's photos and updates that are given. There might be not a designated channel for it all, which goes a long way as well. But these are all those little tips and tricks and levers to pull along the way. But yeah, there's brew episodes, and there's communities engagement as far as like, there's town halls and the brew channel with Santi and Newt and Ash heading the general updates and news around the space. So it's just like from all angles, they're doing a great job, and it's better now than later for any other projects that might be listening. Definitely take note, and that's definitely the way to go in this space. But
one of the things I was going to share that I'm not going to go through all of these, but I'll show one of them. Is it this one here? Yeah. Right before it. Let's see. Yeah. So, from a product development standpoint, and as Buntius here mentions, this doesn't include marketing, HR, and a lot of other departments, but ATMTA, which is the actual Star Atlas company, and then you got Spirasoft, which is contract and additional art and co-dev and outsource. It's a lot of people working on this project. So that's why we keep seeing updates and we keep seeing activities, because they are going full guns building a team. So while I have some critiques about the marketing and some other things that I'd like to see, the development side is going at this hard. There's no question about that.
I would love to see your critique, just like listen to it, other than the marketing that we kind of touched on. But if you have anything else, I think it's important.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to go into it here on the show, but I've talked about it a number of times, and they're I'll give you the 2-minute synopsis.
Okay, go for it.
So one of the things that all of us, at least for me, I can speak for myself, that I created great interest for me in Star Atlas was the interviews that I saw early on with Michael Wagner talking about, hey, here's what we're building, and we understand that this is investment. They're one of the first ones that were acknowledging that this is an investment, as were other companies like Gala Games. They don't even let you touch that word in their Discords. You ask about utility of an NFT, they're not having any part. So Michael Wagner is saying, look, we understand that people are in this project and they're expecting to see something from it. And what we think is reasonable is a year's return on investment. I thought that was pretty aggressive, but I also thought it was pretty cool that someone would say that. So then when it comes out time from a perspective of, okay, here's the first means for you to start earning on your ships. And when things change in the market, we have levers we can pull. Those things actually never happened. So there's a disconnect in my mind, if I'm being honest, about the things that were said and the things that were done. Now, I appreciate that all projects don't go according to plan, but you also need to communicate that. So for me, while there's a lot of things that have happened right with Star Atlas, there's also a disconnect that leans towards a question of integrity. Why have you not addressed these things openly about what you said was going to happen versus what you did? So those are my critiques, but at the same time, I have lots of things that I believe are positive about the project.
Fair. And I think they should. I think I think absolutely they should address it and just be honest about it. Just let's move on, right? That's basically what it is. Because if there's a reason behind it, then there's a reason behind it, and whatever the reason is, whether they got caught up with other things, because that's also possible, right? Priorities, like, okay, shit, like we should have pulled levers here, but fuck, we messed up there. Let's see how we can like move forward and blah blah blah, and that's okay,
Those are growing pains. That happens, but address it. Be open. Say, hey, here's why. Here's what we realized the expectation was. Here's why it didn't happen. Here's what we're going to do about it. Here's what's next. And then you move on. That's it.
I agree.
Yes, sir.
What else have we got?
I think we're running dry. I think that was it.
Are we done?
Yeah, man.
2 hours.
Yeah, that's a warm up for us usually.
Yeah, we've gone as long as 3. It usually depends on the
sick,
content. Dude. It depends on the content, what we've got to talk about, who's on, all that sort of thing, man. Been awesome having you on here with us for sure, man. Good conversation.
Yeah, we do other games like Gala. We talk about Axie. We talk about other smaller projects, DeFi Kingdoms, other network projects. We try to get the most recent updates with them. Gala Games just had their Miranda's test. Stress test. It's still.
I was gonna talk about it. Yeah. I was just playing before this.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you try it out?
Yeah, I did. It's great to see. We have those rings that were airdropped to us on the avatars. You can see it's a blue light, and then also the lantern. You can also see. I've seen 2 people with lanterns that are selling at ridiculous prices. Although all assets are pretty ridiculous as far as the price concerned. The price is concerned, but it's a fun experience. Some people are saying we were able to do more in the last test run. We could craft our bows. You were able to do a lot more, and there was a bigger space to explore. But I guess now we just have this with killing goblins.
The nighttime aspect was kind of cool because you saw a cycle where all you could see of the goblins at night is you could see the camp, unless they were near a campfire, you could just see these 2 little eyes out there just kind of cruising around. And the other thing that I did notice, and I haven't heard anyone mention, is that another player, someone else that was logged in at the same time as you could see their ring of discord. I'm assuming that's what it was. It was glowing blue, and I'm not sure if it was just reflecting from firelight, but you could see it off from a ways. So it's interesting how even something as much as a ring seems to be showing up on characters even at this point.
Yeah.
Let me actually see if I can pull it up here. Let me see, so people can see this. That would be cool. Let me see. Let me share it here.
I was able to snipe. I think what I ended up getting like 40 was my total of
there. I'm sharing. Let me know.
You know how you got that, Just? You know how you got that? I'll tell you how you got that. You're just waiting around for 2 arrows to hit a goblin, and then you're coming out of nowhere and you're stealing kills.
You're stealing kills.
You're one of those guys. All right.
Yeah.
It's pretty dark though.
Them's the rules.
No one told me not to do it.
Can we actually turn on the light here?
So no, in this part of the stress test, this iteration of the stress test, we don't have a light that you can just press a button on your keypad with. You would actually need the NFT, which is the lantern of light, and that NFT allows you to have forever, light that is on that doesn't require fuel. So that's why I guess the price is so high, because if we're gonna have an experience like this where it's just as dark and you literally can't see anything, and your lantern that has fuel, which isn't an NFT, goes out, you're pretty much screwed unless you're with a group of people who have more fuel for the lantern.
And who got that drop?
It wasn't a drop; it was a sale, and it was only 100, and it was at a crazy ass price, and it still is
$10,000 Ethereum to start, I think, and then now it's up to 50,000.
Bro, that's crazy.
Yeah,
those are the things. Those are my complaints with Gala. Like, you don't do that. I think that's insane. But whatever,
Yeah, I remember those days of you hammering those that glass. What is it called? The freaking glass thing that you had that was only you could purchase on the Gala website.
Yeah.
And then you had an inning with Bitbender, and since then everything seems to be okay. But yeah, when you buy something and it's an NFT, physical or not, yeah, you could do whatever you want with it. But I guess on the other side of it is if you publish any information or video on you doing so, I guess not even to get into that. That beef was already squashed.
Happened. Yeah, it's all good.
The game is great, and I'm excited to actually get involved more so. And I just hope that we just get more to do in the next playtest, and it's not going to be more than a year away. I know they said maybe every quarter or every so often we're going to have something playable. So I look forward to that.
I wonder if we're going to get MTRM is the token for this.
Materium.
Yeah, Ethereum. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, should we? You think we're gonna get some for playing?
Yes, we will. It'll be the same amount as for the last play test.
Okay, so it's not based on how long you play or anything like that.
It's based on the number of exemplars you have in your wallet at the time they took the snapshot prior to gameplay.
Got it. All right, cool, man.
Yep.
Sick. I'm out of arrows. Fuck.
Yeah. Shout out
this
to
looks smooth.
I like these characters, man. Wow, incredible. Like, some people might say, but those are polygon. That is a style, basically. They're going for that style.
Yep. This guy needs to go to hospital.
Yeah, this guy's fucked. Anyways, let me stop sharing here.
This here is my favorite screenshot of the in the Gala Discord.
The first thing that came to mind was like, that's how a lot of the community might feel right now, just based off of everything that happened, including the bear market overall. But
right,
there's some good stuff happening at Mirandus with their development. So it's just that we want more, man. We always want more, and if you don't like it, I guess, in the words of Bitbender, you could just sell and get out.
Man. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the best way to kind of deal with.
Yes.
That type of attitude is like, yo, get the fuck out, whatever.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
But hey, we're still supportive. We got our guild. We got shout out to Observer. He's the in our members of the Rome Guild who are focused on Mirandus. We're still alive and healthy there. Make sure you fill out the census if you're acquiring any assets or have any more avatars. So I
got a golden ticket. It's your chance to unlock the secrets of Mirandus. Every ticket gives you a chance to spin the wheel of fate. You may reap the rewards or perhaps nothing at all. Would you test fate? Ooh, that's pretty cool. You guys have any of those?
Yeah.
Yeah, I spun and it didn't work out so well for me.
Can you sell it?
You can sell the ticket. Yeah. You can sell the golden ticket, but they're going for like $55, I think, right now. Maybe less, maybe more. But that's the range. And then and then there's a whole list of percentages of what you would earn if you win. You could win an actual hamlet, like a farming deed. You could earn a deed, an avatar, and they have one of pretty good rarity there. But the chances of that are pretty slim.
And how do you get it? You get it through the node? I don't even know how I got it.
It was airdropped to us.
Yeah, if you had, as long as you had wallet that qualified, they airdropped it into your wallet, and then from there, there's a two-step process. There's going to be some gas fees associated with moving it from the treasury to your regular ETH wallet, and then you're going to have to pay again gas fee to mint it.
Okay, and what about like actually rolling it, unlocking the secrets of Miranda's?
It does it automatically when you mint it.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
That's how
So
you
then
use
from
it.
that point, you'll find out what you got. You'll have to look in your wallet after mint. Did I get a card? Did I get a deed? Yeah.
I'm gonna do it right now. Fuck it. Let's
Stream it live.
wait, because I gotta put passwords and shit. So no.
Do that. Stream that live too. Do it all here. But yeah, by far the most exciting game next to Star Atlas and everything that we're going to be able to do there is just it's going to be playing a game like Miranda's. It's very exciting.
It's theirs to lose. And here's what I mean by this. They were I talked about one of the first games in the space for me was Lost Relics. And I was really curious before I even knew about blockchain gaming. I was looking around, I was like, are there any games that are being built right on blockchain now? And that's how I found Lost Relics. I'm like, okay, I played that for a while. What else is there? And that's how I found my way after that to Gala Games. And all the things that they talked about sounded awesome, sounded amazing. Truth is, what I found out over a period of time is that it was mostly all talk, and development hadn't happened at all. So there wasn't going to be any beta last year or an alpha last year. Now they're just now, in my opinion, they just now got the team together as of earlier this year and just started the process. So now it's theirs to lose. If they can create a true traditional MMORPG with crafting, with all the things that we like in an RPG, I think it's theirs to lose. If they can pull that off, it will be huge.
I think. Here's what I think. One of the biggest problems with Miranda's is that it's a fully tokenized game, fully tokenized. Mm-hmm. So I think it's going to be one of those games where, a lot of people are going to get in, but it's not going to be a huge, super huge economy. It's probably going to be a 40,000 people, 50,000 people economy, because people have to choose to participate in this real life economy. I think there's more upside in games that have a hybrid, right? Where you can play kind of the game for free, walk around, have your characters, have items in games that are not tokenized. And then if you choose to kind of participate in the other side of the game where it has tokenized items, then good for you, right? But I think that's one of the biggest issues that I see here. But definitely it's one of a kind.
Yeah,
that is where the actual upside of Miranda's. It's one of a kind, but how long, is it gonna be hyped for, and how long do people really want to play in this fully tokenized economy? I don't know.
There's that part of it, and then there's this part of it where they are also creating so many new firsts. And when you have so many new firsts, that may be good in theory, but you don't know if that's actually fun to play. So that's the other thing. I mean, when you put so many firsts out there, there's just so many opportunities for something to not add up to a fun, playable game. And as you mentioned, how many thousand, 40,000? Well, we know there potentially be up to 50,000 because they're not creating any more avatars for the game beyond the 50,000 exemplars until there's such a time that there's more than that needed. So,
and they said they wouldn't mind making like a cheap race if like all the 50,000 spots are occupied and loads of people are trying to still get in.
Mm-hmm. And to what Cagyjan was saying, it's all talk right now of having everything on chain. And then what chain? They're talking about building their own blockchain. So that's another first. Where it's just like, it has been done, right? Ronin was created. It's a side chain. Like, is it going to be a side chain of Ethereum, or is it going to be a created fully, the 50,000 nodes, right? Is like, what is it exactly? We don't have any paperwork. There's nothing really concrete that's going to give us, I guess, the confidence yet. But if you're just coming in new and you think that's what they're doing, you're going to be all for it, and not really know what to compare and contrast it to as far as other projects that already have done this. And have all of their assets. I go back to DeFi Kingdoms. They have every asset on chain. It's on the Harmony network. Yeah, the bridge was hacked for $1 million, which we didn't talk about, which sucks. But all these bridge hacks. But nevertheless, it's possible. But if you're going to build a blockchain plus this AI for your goblins, plus the like what else that they're doing, I think they're going to just grow along with the progress of the blockchain before Miranda's is even live. Because if it's going to be everything tokenized, there's going to have to be something that's not on the chain for whatever chain that's going to be.
I think. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, if I was going to do that as a developer and I was going to do something that was so experimental, then I probably wouldn't be charging hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm not going to be charging $5,000 for an elf exemplar. I'm not going to be charging a couple $1 million for a citadel. If I'm doing something that's so experimental, I'm probably going to make it more accessible to more people. That's just my thought, to get more people involved in the project.
I agree, man. I agree, but at the same time, it allowed them to scale to this level in terms of marketing and doing events, Galaverse. Like, we paid for that as a community. We paid for all of that, and I'm okay with it. I'm not even mad about it. I'm just like, some people I've seen, some people like, oh, you spent all that money, but blah blah blah. It's like, nah, cool, man. You just keep doing marketing. If you're holding assets, this is all good for our community, right? We don't have to go do the marketing ourselves like some other game are expecting us to do as community members. At least as motherfuckers out here doing Galaverse, doing all of this stuff and spending the money to make some noise. So we paid for all of that, and that's totally fine with me.
That raises another point, though. We paid all that money, but still they want us to pay another $8,000 just to go to Galaverse.
No. Look, no, I agree. Still, they're making noise. I haven't paid that money for Galaverse. Probably won't pay it ever, right? Unless I'm invited to Galaverse. I'm not trying to be like cocky or anything. $8,000 is a lot of money, even if I have money to do it. Like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. But anyways, they're making noise, and I'm totally okay with it. It's actually pretty cool. And the idea is that they should reel back, like you said, come back with cheaper items, cheaper stuff. Now that you already have the money to make some noise, now go back, let the people come in, people that don't have a lot of money. So
right now, and they are definitely don't hold back when it comes to marketing. Right now on the website, I believe there's about 17 different Snoop Dogg related NFTs that you can buy, whether it's related to Gala music, and they're all over the place. They got Gala film, they got the games, but yeah, about 17 or so items right now that are Snoop Dogg related.
Yeah, and by the way, how do you get a Gala film node? Is that out yet or not yet?
I think, Punjab, you're watching, as you probably know, where are they at now with Gala film nodes?
I think they were available, but only after the Galaverse, or during it, you were able to get it if you had tickets and you were present, and then they went on to node holders, and then they went down the line to gold, to Gala Gold. But I might be wrong.
Do we know anything about that? Like what the model is going to be? Are they doing like independent films and then that's the way you'll be able to watch it? Or are they trying to gain IP to some existing stuff that's already been out?
I'm sure that's what it is, but I haven't kept up with the film part of Gala Games.
I don't think there's a lot of info on that necessarily.
Yeah.
But even the music one, I bought one or two. I don't even know. But I don't know how to even run it, or is it just runs automatic? I'm so confused.
I don't know. I can't speak for anyone else, but when it was just the founders node, I guess that's pretty straightforward to run the node, but it could get complicated, and I'm sure there's websites that just, I fell off the music and the film nodes. It's just too many nodes now.
I'm looking at my profile and I don't see my music node. I know I bought it. I remember. It only says the amount of nodes that you have for the Genesis nodes or whatever, and then the Townstar. I have 0 Townstar, and yeah, that's all I see here. But I don't see the film, the music node.
There's gonna be a Snoop movie and a Townstar movie.
Okay,
that's wild. Huh.
Yeah. So sorry, Keg, we can't help you there. So.
So even with the regular nodes, man, with the regular nodes, I think I got my node when they were at somewhere between 8,000 and 9,000. I think that's last spring. And now to buy a node, I think they're at 97,000. And the question is, will they ever get to the end of selling all those? I don't know how many are left, but now it's at that point where is someone really feeling like they're going to get their value at spending 97 grand for a Gala node? And then the other part of that question too is that the original idea was that once all the nodes sell out, they become NFTs, which then make them transferable. But for the foreseeable future, they're not going to be, obviously.
I think the value is going to be there. at some point, I would like to believe that if you have an ecosystem like Epic Games, and you could buy into that ecosystem for $100K,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, holy shit, like that's nothing, right? Like I would put $100K in Epic Games any day to be part of something, you know, to be part of their, you know, how they run shit, right? Like, so right now it doesn't seem to have that value, but I think if we go into having a library of all these fucking games, dropping NFTs, dropping plus the tokens, plus all of that
value from all the different transactions. Yeah, if that all holds true, then yeah, no doubt, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think it's possible. I think it's possible. We'll see. But you're right. Right now, doesn't look like I would sell my nodes right now. I will sell my account for, you know, I have 2 nodes, sell it for $80K, both. I'll do it. That's liquidity right there.
You know, I think there's a method to the madness though when it comes to Gala Games, to KNat's comment. Yeah, they're back-to-back releasing games, but again, it's not maybe pulling from the developers who are making Mirandus, right? Those games that they're taking on for their into Gala Games have their own developers. So, you know, like we know that they're just helping them on the blockchain NFT side of things to raise money.
I'll tell you what the model was. This is my opinion. I've shared this before. Gala Games came out. They said, what is the grandest idea that we could come up with for a game? And it was Mirandus. And they just came up with all of these visionary. They sold the idea, and then the NFTs went on sale, and they used it as a capital raise. And they raised a boatload of money. And that capital raise that was before the idea Mirandus was to be started, but it allowed them to now go out to other developers and say, look what we did. We raised all this money for a game. Let's partner together. You guys create the game. We'll sell the NFTs. We'll be your partner in that. So we'll help to bring you on chain because we're developing our own chain with Gala Chain. And so they did that. And then now they kind of feel they're in a land grab race. They want to go out there and become this developer and grab as many projects as they can and then let it sort itself out from this point as they go. That's what my idea of their strategy has been, and they keep seeming to lean into that.
Yeah, I think that's a smart strategy, right? Like if you look at Steam, you see like 90% of the games on there are crap, right? But it doesn't matter because and I'm not saying that the ones we have right now are crap. I'm just saying like it really doesn't matter. There's an audience for everything. There's an audience for, you know, those little tiny games or mini games. People buy them for $3, $5. They get into the game. They play this game for 1 hour, 2 hours. They never see it again, right? But then there are titles that kind of hold the Steam platform together, which is they got some Call of Duty in there, they got some Halo in it, they got CSGO in it, and those are kind of like the base. You know, that's what holds Steam together, and then everything else is just like, you know, let's just appeal to everybody. So I think it's a good strategy.
What's coming though that people should consider is that right now in every single one of their games, there is in every single game that Gala's released, you can find an NFT that you can spend $100,000 on. So but here's the interesting thing: not every single one of the games is going to be successful. There's just no way. Not every single game there is going to have the mechanics that make it so that it's play to earn, where that if you spend $100,000 on a piece of land NFT in The Walking Dead or whatever game, it doesn't mean there's a good chance that you won't be getting that back. So not every game's going to make it.
Yeah. Most games are not going to make it. Even the ones that make it won't make it. And let me explain. Because this is very interesting. You got Halo, which is a big brand, right? They're supposed to have, you know, all these people that are really, really into Halo, myself included. And I'm not playing Halo. Obviously, I'm not playing Halo because I'm in Web3. I don't worry about those things. But if you see the numbers in Halo, it's like, bro, like how? I think they're on like a 30,000, 40,000 daily active users. Yeah. And this is a big ass brand. So you would think like, okay, Halo, a big brand that has been around town for many, many years, hasn't really made it compared to other IPs that are out right now, like League of Legends or whatever, you know? So even the games that you would think they would make it, they're not going to make it, you know?
They're just they made it for the history books, but they haven't stood relevant and I guess progressed in the same way as any new titles came around. Because Halo
is diluted. It's very diluted.
Yeah, because Halo is still a great game compared to a lot of new games that came out that have way more daily active users, but it's just not being played. So it's just like there's something that is to be seen and to be learned from there, for sure.
Yeah.
The thing I like about Illuvium's model is they seem to be being very strategic and smart about the way they're going about things. Like if you want to make a blockchain game right now that is AAA, that has the great, beautiful graphics, the simplest way you can make it play to earn is to have people battle in an arena with a wager system. And that's what they're doing. And then from there, you can incorporate by land by making it so that you have an element that people need for the traditional gameplay, and then that's what the land side does. So they seem to be doing it in simple steps that makes sense to me for how I can see a game attracting users to be fun and also to be playable where people can earn.
Then they got the open world model too, which is that's for me. That's where I'm gonna participate personally. I don't want to participate in a TFT. I don't want to participate in the LAN. And that creates value for the people that can participate or want to participate in the LAN little game on mobile, people that maybe don't have a PC but want to participate in this economy, and then the people that want to compete. So we go into this open world, and we're going to need items and resources that we won't be able to generate because we don't want to participate in the other games that kind of connect together, right? So we'll probably be buying some resources from those people that are farming in the land, so we can use it within the open world to capture illuvials to sell it to the esport players. So I think it could work. We'll see. It could work, but we have to see it in practice.
I don't think we shared that new video, that one that dropped this week. That was exceptional. The open world gameplay, that was cool, where they're going out and harvesting resources, and then they go out and they actually scan for an alluvial. That was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the longest videos so far for any NFT game, as far as the gameplay.
Yeah. Obviously a very controlled environment, but still looks fucking amazing.
It does. I like the little jetpack power too. I guess that's where the fuel's going to come in. You're probably going to need the fuel to be able to do that.
Right.
Yeah. While we're pulling it up, here's a clip on Twitter. Right, yeah.
Twitter, yeah. And it looks better on Twitter if you guys go see it yourselves, but just so you know.
In the choices they made, even when they're creating the world, right down to the plants, to the terrain, to the different environments, to the suit that she's wearing in this add-on module, they did a great job. The developers, they made it unique. It doesn't look like, hey, they just pulled all these ideas from
out
this
of their ass.
Game. Right.
Pretty much.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I can say it's one of the more unique games too in the Web3 space. Not a copycat of something that you could make,
And that's the thing. That's the thing where I see value in this. We were talking about this, games not showing enough. Illuvium understood that there was value in showing every single day, even if it was a little plant that they created. It's like, now you see it in the game, in the gameplay, and you're like, oh, now it makes sense. I saw that plant, right? And it's just like this little leak, but in the bigger scope, it's like, wow, dude, now you can see it in the actual environment, and you can see how it comes together. So you feel part of this, Yep.
And I think a lot of these little tips and tricks, which are pretty evident and that makes sense just by talking about them or just thinking about them, comes from having a history in gaming. Like what would you want to see as a gamer, as a traditional gamer all your life, just buying games, to take part in that development process. This is the time to get these people who are gamers so involved and engaged and invested in just that part of what they always wanted to do, which was like, man, behind the scenes, a fly on the wall, right? In a Discord group. Who would have thought? Not me. And then now you're here and you're playing the game and you see how it all was developed. And it just keeps the retention rates are going to be the best out of any game if projects do that as far as player base.
I can see someone get to a point, oh man, I'm out of fuel. I got to walk from here.
I'm like, okay, I'd rather do that.
That's cool. Harvesting resources. Yeah, pretty awesome. Depleted.
See, but I guess at some level, unless I know this is just I guess I'll call it a demo run, right, of what they have, but it could get tedious just scanning, unless that's something you enjoy doing. Everyone has their, whatever floats your boat. But I I could see how it could get tedious and just redundant over some time. Yeah, that's what I feel about certain games that just involve scanning, because there's a lot of open space here.
There's going to be some people that do nothing but battle in the arena.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's gonna definitely be people like that. I think there's gonna be a huge community here in terms of competitive, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing. The competitiveness of any one of these Web3 games, it's gonna be there because you're able to earn, right? And that's the whole point. You're gonna have that much more engagement, that much more, on the line if you're gonna be playing, as far as like risking your own assets. If it's Star Atlas in the third zone, where you're able to lose it if you lose a battle, or if you lose a battle here, you lose your Ethereum potentially.
So what we just saw was interesting. So they did a scan for alluvials. This was air. It said they came up, and then 4 came up, and then right now I'm assuming this is transporting them to a place where you have to battle them to be able to tame them. So you have them. Is that what just happened here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So what's on the other side, I guess, before you go.
Right.
So you're not wasting your time as like if you were playing Pokemon and you have to run through the grass. You're always getting a Ratatats and freaking Pidgeotos, not Pidgeotos, but Pidgeys. So now you're able to see what you want, and if you don't want it, or if you've made 3 already and you evolved, you don't have to, I guess, spend that time doing it.
Makes sense.
Have you guys played the Illuvium?
I'm still on the wait list. Actually, Fancy Hat, he's played a bit, haven't you?
Yeah, I got past a few waves and then it crashed on me. So it gave me like a warning to update my drivers before I started. So I need to get in and do that.
Yeah, I'm trying to boot it up here just to show the audience,
Cool.
Yeah. See if we can boot it up. Awesome. I'm trying to see what my password is.
Yeah, this is a long video, 8 minutes. A lot to showcase.
Yeah.
Caggy bringing the value, the extra.
No, kind of like making it fun, trying to like, so people can see that there's like things going on, like, the Miranda's, this one. I also should have access to Aurora. Let me see.
That's cool. That's another underrated project, man. They've been having, you're able to play that for a while now.
Let me actually try to play here, see if I already have access, because they said I should have access now. So let's see. Let's boot that one up first. Let's see. How do you? Okay, share right here. Share screen. Okay, let's try this. Let's see Aurora. If I can actually play here, the actual game. Closest window. All right. We're booting up.
Yeah, and then I remember the initial drop for the avatars. There was 3 separate websites that, if one didn't work, they were telling you to go and mint for the initial mint of those avatars. You had to jump to another website, and then that one was filled and and it wasn't working. It was just, it was hectic. It was hectic.
Yeah, for Aurora. Oh man. Yeah.
And then the prices went straight up to 55 Sol.
But I couldn't buy it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's hide this. Spacebar, cool. This is premium. This game is gonna be premium. If they do an MMORPG with this characters, I can. Let's see if it's true that I got access. All right, initially, okay. God damn it, bro! The devs told me I had access. They told me a few times that I got access, but there should be like a problem with this or something. Maybe I don't know. All right, so we're quitting that. Yeah, I guess no gameplay, guys. But you can play the kind of like the lobby. You can play in the lobby, so test it out for anybody out there. Let me stop sharing this screen. Sorry about that. I rugged you guys.
Good, man. Thanks for the effort putting it in. Trying to test it out.
You've got Illuvium gameplay, or that was just you, or Rory? But do you have Illuvium?
I should have Illuvium. Yeah, I have Illuvium. I just, for some reason, I don't know my password, so I'm trying to figure that out. I'll let you know in a little bit.
Cool. So, what was your experience before you crashed there, Fancy Head? Did you get in? Do you get a sense or at least a feel for what the gameplay was like? You're muted. Oh, he must have run away for a moment. Bio break.
But yeah, there's also I can imagine when you're playing, you really need to be strategic and know what you're doing with what you're playing. You know, with every one of these games, it's going to be more than just spamming buttons, because it's going to be skillful play that gets you earning, as the whole space is moving to, you know, you can't just be spamming. No more bots. You have to use your brain now.
Right. They keep updating the site pretty well, though. I just noticed that because let me drop that up in here. So now on the site, they when you get to the site, you as you saw on the show before where we talked about it, you can go to the section which is alluvium, staking, also play. But now they're breaking it up into you've got the arena, which I'm registered for, but I'm still not able to play. Alluvium 0, which is the land. Then of course the open world, which they're calling overworld. So yeah, they're pushing forward, man. This is one I'm super excited to be able to dive into. Supposedly the land stuff, which I've got like 4 plots of land. I ended up grabbing 1 tier 2 and 3 tier 1s. I'm curious to see what that's going to look like. It's supposed to be coming out within the next couple weeks, because earlier this month they were supposed to be 4 weeks out about the time that they had the land sale. You guys, so you mentioned Cagyjan, that you guys got some land for juice for alluvium. Did you guys end up grabbing?
My tier 1, like my community that has my NFT, got it. I didn't get any land. I'm not really buying anything right now. I'm just kind of sitting it out because I'm building the juice team and, you know, putting money into all of this stuff that I know as a fact that these things are gonna drop in price. You know, for we're gonna see this probably for a couple months, maybe a year, who knows.
Right.
So I think let the land sales and all that stuff go and then buy after, right? So we did buy one as a community, but not personally, no.
Right.
I'm a proud member of a tier OG 1 card since day one. So
yeah, man, the money's there, you know. We're not touching that money. We'll see what happens with that over time. Hopefully in the future we can actually redistribute those funds to the people. Right now it just doesn't make sense, but yeah. Let me actually share. I think I got in. Wait, did it crash? Yeah, let me reboot it. I got my password. Let me share this real quick.
It's interesting. So in this world, as we're watching this here, they've got 7 regions. I don't know which one this is. Does it say on there anywhere what region they're going through now?
I think this is Crimson Abyss or something like that.
Yeah, which is interesting because when they did an alluvial scan, it looked like they were saying that air alluvials were the one that came up. So wasn't sure if alluvials are right now specific to a specific region. I would have thought they would have been, but maybe just for beta play, a walkthrough, they're just putting in placeholders.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll all be like spread out everywhere across the whole game, depending on what they're specialized in. Very good playtest.
All right, so I had to update the game. That's why it wasn't working. So right now I literally got 10 minutes and then I got a meeting. So I'm just going to show this for the people that haven't seen it, you know, kind of see it live or whatever real quick.
Cool.
Let's see if I can actually get in right now. I'll share it after I log in because this is it has my email, my stuff there. But yeah, what about Synergy Land? Have you guys seen Synergy Land on Solana? It's an action RPG, kind of like Lost Relics.
No, I'm not even familiar with it.
I heard of it.
Man.
Yeah.
The devs are premium devs. They come from like Riot Games and all of that. I talked about it a lot. I actually have a few videos on that, but you should check it out since you were talking about the Whitticus.
Yeah.
All right, so I can
ARPG.
share this right now. Let me see. All right, we're good. We're in. There we go. All right.
Survival mode.
Let's not do competitive. Let's just do casual. Competitive is a little bit harder, obviously.
So survival mode is PvE, where you're just playing waves as far as you can get, right?
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. PvE. And in the competitive mode on survival, you're playing against obviously the leaderboard.
Right.
So right here, you would choose. I don't know the whole thing. This is actually very complex, but I'm just showing here. And then you got the timing right here. In competitive, you have a time. In casual, you don't. You kind of just hit it when you're ready. There you go. Look how good that looks.
That is pretty cool.
It's pretty clean.
The match where they put $1 million up, that was a cool one.
Yeah, between Karen and his brother, it was a bet of $1 million
Sick.
who would win, and they
That's some
streamed
good
it.
content right there.
Yeah. We're going to see a lot of that going on between, I guess, content creators at first who are challenging themselves. It's all going to help grow their numbers, but it's going to be maybe until these games are playable.
I wouldn't do that unless I'm really, really good at a game.
Right.
Like, I'm not fucking with that. Anyways, that's pretty much the gameplay, and it looks premium, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this
Nice.
UI. It's just fucking amazing.
It's
It's
clean.
amazing. Very, very clean. So, yeah. Check it out, Illuvium.
Yo.
Cool, man. Well, I think we're out of news in general. And as you mentioned, you got to jump off to head to something else here. And I think we're wrapped up for the week, man. It was fantastic having you on. Always welcome back for sure, man. And when you do come back, I want to hear more about what Juice is all about and what you're creating over there. So.
For sure, man.
Kaggy,
I'll
thanks
expand
so
on it.
much.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, good looking out, Kaggy. You're the best.
No, I really enjoyed this show. I think it's definitely one of the best shows I have been on for sure. It's a very, it's a little bit longer, but it's interactive, right? Like we're just finding shit and talking about anything and everything. So
exactly.
Sometimes shows are too quick and it's just like questions and then you answer and then you can't expand on the ideas and thoughts or whatever. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate that.
Thank you, man.
And we appreciate all of you watching the show we see a lot of the same faces and a lot of the same folks coming back each week. We appreciate you being a part of the conversation. Although most of the people that are watching here know where to find you, you want to tell them quickly where to go. Where is the best place to find you, man?
Yeah, the best place is on youtube.com/Cagyjan. That's one way. And then the other way is on Twitter. Is Cagyjan, but with a number 1 at the end. So Cagyjan1. And yeah, on Twitter, I talk a lot of shit you might not like. Sometimes I go into politics. Sometimes I troll very hard. Like yesterday, I said actually is racist, which is not true. If you know me, you know I'm trolling. So
now you know if you didn't know. But
yeah,
thanks so much for sharing all that, taking your time. It was a pleasure. We'll talk soon. But yes, go subscribe to Kaggy. Also subscribe to us, Metaverse Nomads. And share, subscribe, Twitter, follow. Just do it all. Smash all the buttons. And stay tuned for next week's episode. Same time, same place. Check us out. If you want to be a part of Rome and its guild, there's an application at gorome.io. You can check us out there with everything that we are. And we can continue conversation within the Discord. So
awesome.
Until next time, everyone.
Until next week. Peace out.
Atlas Miner, you were born to push the block in search of ore. And now it's time that you are gone. So farewell, Atlas Miner. And farewell, Mud and ONI too. Who's the sector same to you? The pirate bastards ran him through. So farewell, Atlas Miner. They promised you a diamond mine, but I'll be damned, it's hard to find. I hope there's justice for their crimes. And farewell, Atlas Miner. And farewell, friend, don't take it hard. Getting killed ain't all that bad. They'll treat you well in the repair yard. So farewell, Atlas Miner.